Lumalamig na nga ang panahon sa buwan ng Enero, pero sa mundo ng Crossfire Philippines, tuloy-tuloy lang ang pag-layup ng kompetisyon sa Day 10 ng Cfs PH Impact Summer 2025. Magandang hapon, Crossfire Philippines! Ako nga pala si Ramon, nakasama ko si Sneaky Frog para sa Day 10 ng Impact Summer. At Sneaky, we're in the middle of the competition na ngayon, pare. Kamusta ka naman ngayon, pare?
Kind of getting whiplash, no, honestly, na kung gaano kabilis na yung panahon dito, men. We're already on day 10 dito sa Impact, and hindi pa rin ako makabilib na we're already knee-deep, no, dito sa tournament natin, considering na, you know, kind of just felt like 2 weeks, honestly, pare.
Totoo, pare, men. Sa gantong co-competitive ba naman ng Impact Summer, hindi mo talaga mararamdaman kung gaano kabilis ang panahon. Sa dinarami-rami ba naman nating nakitang mga clutches, sa dinarami-rami nating nakitang talent dito sa Impact, talaga nga namang hindi mo talaga mamamalayan ang panahon natin. As we're gonna take a look at yung overview ng buong Impact Summer, ilang best din natin siyang napag-usapan. 8 teams, single round robin, best of 3 lahat para lang malaman kung sino talaga ang pinakamalakas sa kanila. On the way tayo sa playoffs kung saan apat teams ang makakuha natin, so talaga nga naman kailangang ilabas yung kanilang pakitang gilas habang sobrang late na tayo dito sa Impact Summer, pare.
Ayun nga. And for the prize, of course, it is always standard dito sa Impact. It is 700 for first, 500 for second, third is going to be 400, fourth 300, fifth and sixth is going to be 200, seventh and eighth 100. Accumulation, of course, of 2,500 USD prize pool, which is, you know, pretty sizable para sa Tier 2 League, pare.
Oo nga Talagang thank you so much para sa suporta ng Smilegate para lang magkaroon ng opportunity ang ating mga Impact teams na makapaglaro sa gantong Tier 2 tournament. Talaga nga naman napakalaki ng stakes katulad nga naman ng prize pool as well as a slot papunta sa ating regional playoffs. Wherein now we also see yung team standings natin na kung bukang bibig natin yung top 1 at top 2, baguhin ko lang yung conversation for today's video, no? Yung top 4 slot na kung saan naglaro kahapon ng Rhea 7 Armita, napakalaki na magiging question mark niyan, pare. Dahil sa mga naglalarong teams ngayon na tatlo sa kanila ay nasa bottom 8, may chance para makuha ang spot ng top 4 sa Rhea 7 Armita, specifically sa Pro Team at saka ang Vengeance ngayong araw ngayon.
Yeah, I mean, a lot is at stake para dito sa Vengeance at XPT to actually get really, really good wins, especially itong Vengeance na medyo naghahabol pa dito sa standings natin. And I think Vengeance would be, you know, praying a bit na matatalo itong XPT, so at least they would be tied para dito sa 5th place, and it would be a lot easier for them to make a run for it, considering ang kalaban nga nila right after this series today up against itong AGT, pare, is actually Rhea 7. So potentially they can actually knock them out of yung top 4 contention themselves. So that would be a very interesting narrative to explore dito, pare, considering na Rhea 7, I feel like they're slowly starting to show yung kanilang true colors dito sa ating group stage, pare, as there's a lot of sharks lurking, no, dito sa group stage, men, and baka maano sila, baka ma-hunt out of nowhere.
Totoo, pare. As we take a look as well yung schedule natin for today, it will be Vengeance versus AGT for our first series, tapos ang matches naman laban sa Cypher Pro Team, no? So habulan lamang ng mga nasa bottom 8, kung saan ang matches naman ay pang solidify lamang ng top 2 slot nila. And since the Cypher Pro Team, may kailangan talaga nilang i-deepen yung understanding nila sa kung gaano kalakas nga yung Cypher Pro Team ngayon, considering their improvement throughout today's weeks. Pero yun nga, no, Sneaky, lahat ng mga teams natin dito, especially on day 10, is looking fiery hot. Lahat sila may opportunity para lang makataas ng maayos para on the way sila sa playoffs na mas smooth.
Yeah, I mean, AGT, honestly, yun nga, win up against itong Al Sovereign. Granted na itong Al Sovereign, no, pare, hasn't had, you know, the best run dito sa ating Impact current T0 and 5. So, ayun nga, losing to Arise obviously didn't help. And yun nga, Arise also have their struggles, no? I mean, up against yung mga stronger teams natin dito sa tournament, obviously, they're kind of look disconnected. Some of them are kind of sending it in random timings, no, dito pare. So, yeah, hopefully we do see something else for today. It's been 5 weeks ng Impact, no? So, siguro eventually, may mapipick up naman dito yung AGT, men.
Totoo pare. At habang tumatagal din yung weeks baka mas na-recognize nila yung mga kailangang ayusin at baka this week na iba na yung magiging itsura na ngayon ng ating players on Arise Gaming Team as well. So as we take a look at yung ating first series, it will be Vengeance versus yung Arise Gaming Team na pinag-uusapan natin kanina. I think the pre-broadcast we kind of had a little bit of theories kung ano yung mangyayari dito sa araw na to, whether it will be Vengeance coming in with a new look, a new form, o kaya ang Arise Gaming Team nga naman ay magkakaroon ng improvement all throughout the week. Specifically now, para sa Vengeance, medyo nagkakaroon ako ng parang doubts in my mind habang tumatagal yung Impact Summer kasi may substitutions, may lack of timings as you mentioned. Only one player has been consistent all throughout this team na si Kara, masasabi ko. Pero everybody else medyo parang either nagdi-disappear sila o dun pa lang sila nagsishow up. No? Like, anong nangyayari dito?
Well, to be fair, no, I like this iteration ng Vengeance kumpara nga dito sa kanilang last na iteration. No? Yun nga, no offense to yung old roster dito. I really feel like there's more to offer dito sa bagong roster ng Vengeance. I really like how Alrets does look from time to time, no? Dito sa mga ibang maps natin. Obviously, Kara is a very, very good player, no? Tapos samahan mo pa si Suwa doon. And, ayun nga, I mean, Vengeance really has a lethal combo dito sa ating series or dito sa kanilang team. But, ayun nga, for some reason talaga hindi sila magamit ng maayos. Even if there's mind-blowing performances, but you still cannot cap out yung mga wins dito. But I think we're gonna get into yung map veto natin, which is most likely gonna involve itong Black Widow and or sub-base. And actually hindi. I mean, Vengeance, I really feel like they really want the 2-0 today, pare. Gusto talaga nilang pumawi dito sa map score at least.
Not looking too good on the round differentials nga sa standings natin kanina. You guessed one of it, right? Black Widow already up para sa Vengeance ngayon. Specifically kung gaano sila passive in their approach on their BL. I think they're gonna have a really good time pagdating dun sa second half natin. Pero kailangan nilang labanan ito on the first half, giving up yung BL side natin on AGT. And for Port, I think nakikita din natin yung potential na nag-unlock din for Arise Gaming Team, especially nung naging laban nila against Al Sovereign nung mga weeks natin. So picking that map up where they also won on the decider at least gives them a bit more of a confidence booster na since yun yung nalaro natin maayos last week, yun na rin nilalabas natin ngayon against Vengeance. So in the decider where Ankara is gonna be that map, mukhang do or die sa pareho nating teams, knowing na this map in particular is really good at punishing sa mga over-rotations at saka sa mga masyadong aggressive na GR players.
To be fair, no, I feel like itong Vengeance for the longest time, they have stuck to this itong Black Widow natin through and through. Even yung kanilang last season, this is probably yung kanilang most played map. It is probably a map na they do use as a crutch a lot dito sa mga tournaments nila. So if they could perform as well as they did the last time na nakita natin sila sa Ankara, this would actually be going back in their way. Pero yung Port kasi medyo mystery yan sa akin kasi yun nga, I have not seen them played one time. And speaking of Vengeance, it is gonna be Jeloy out, Sua back in. Yun nga, big fan of Sua. Jeloy, granted na he has shown a lot of grit dito sa Vengeance. Baka yun nga, no, inserting Sua back in would be the way to go.
At the same time as well, you're also taking out one of your better Ankara players as well. So pagdating dun sa Game 3, dun pa lang siguro makakita ng parang different effect kapag pumasok na din tong si CJ at si Suwa. Although granted, we haven't seen them together. So medyo small yung sample size yung makikita natin. Actually, small to none nga naman no? So tignan natin kung ano yung mangyayari sa tandem tong si CJ at saka ni Suwa pag nagsama sila pareho. But I do think there will be an effect kapag umalis tong si Jello no? So will this be a big effect? Yun na din yung para magiging win condition para sa Vengeance ngayon no? A lot of question marks around their performance, but what they're looking for is a bit of a bounce back pare kasi medyo hindi ako high sa hopes sila ngayon
Yeah, and I can't blame I mean, yung top 4 natin is pretty solidified at the moment. Nga, Sunday Shrooms obviously first, Matches, Heroics 3-7 fighting for second, third, and fourth, no? And may potential pa na itong Cypher Pro team can actually dip into dito sa playoffs depending on what upsets happen. Pero para naman kasi dito sa Vengeance, I mean, the last two teams that they're gonna go up against, pare. I mean, it's brutal. R7 tapos Foundation Rooms dito. So, yeah, they really, really need this win, pare, and some circumstances to go their way para, you know, somehow, maybe, baka may 1% chance na makaslip by sila sa playoffs, pare.
Totoo. At mukhang maayos na din tong oras para pag-usapan natin yung predictions natin coming into this with Vengeance versus Arise Gaming Team. I'm gonna start things off, ha? At magbibigay ako ng medyo hot take. 2-1 Arise Gaming Team, pare. Honestly, this team, I'm not really super high on pagdating dito sa mga early stages natin. But you can see the potential from Aero ever since that he came into the roster nung sinub-in niya at pakatapos umalis itong si Stephen. I think he's done a really good job of being that type of player. And I think him and Rio together is a good enough force para lang magkaroon sila ng damage dito. Ikaw ba, Sticky?
Yeah, granted na ayun nga, no, ang ganda ng performance ni Aero from his recent showing, no. Granted na I really feel like he was the guy that kind of put them over the edge dito nga sa series, but I feel like it's still gonna be Vengeance 2-0, pare. I mean, there is levels to this, yung laruan natin, so it's not the best sample size na kunin yung result siguro from last week na pwede kong sabihin na, oh, they can now beat itong Vengeance this time just because they won. Pero, ayun nga, I mean, the way I see it is very different. I really feel like yung Vengeance, kaya pa nilang mag-contend dito. And AGT, man, they're here for the ride, pare.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I mean, both teams now coming into this with different stories. Yung paghabol ng Vengeance at yung pagbawi sa mga recent weeks nilang kung saan medyo nagiging up and down yung performances nila. Ayun na nga, yung kailangan nilang tutukan. Ngayon naman, ang AGT is they're just here to have fun, pare. Lots of weeks have come by. There's not much that you could say about how they've been performing. Pero kung wala na yung pressure sa kanila, baka mas iba na yung performance na makikita na natin from Arise Gaming Team. No? So predictions out of the way. And with the map veto already set para sa atin, kung saan ang Black Widow ang pinakauna, pare, I think it's safe to say that Vengeance, since they are gonna be starting, I believe din sa GR side natin, they're gonna give AGT a bit more of that pace, that tempo. What are your expectations dito, pare? Kasi mukhang Vengeance, since they played this a lot of times na, I think they have a game plan coming into this.
Siguro, para sa Vengeance, I mean, knowing kasi Black Widow, pwede ka maging aggressive off the jump dito eh. So, ayun nga, a lot of options for openers para dito sa Vengeance, especially nasa GR pa kayo, no? So you have the opportunity to surprise them from round 1 and kind of set the pace for the rest of the game, no? Kasi pag di nyo ginulat itong PL and you allow them so much space, then, ayun nga, then you're not gonna have a fun time sa GR side, that's for sure.
No, definitely not, pare. Lots of ways that Vengeance can actually go about with this, but since yung magiging star natin dito is AGT, man, I mean, for them to actually get themselves the winning advantage, I think they have to expect the aggression. But since they are going to be starting on our BL side, they have to be the ones to set the tempo ngayon, as it will be yung GR for Vengeance. It will be Alres to start things off. Papatay dito kay A42. With that lure coming down, the attempt is down, as well as the LA push from AGT, where dami na nakatingin doon pakatapos ng first blood all the way to the other side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, A42 out at the start. I mean, obviously, si A42 yung isa sa mga pinaka-effective na players dito ng AGT with itong si Aero, but we do see a bit of long pressure galing dito sa AGT as may very slow push galing dito kay Rio on that short position. So, nakalagpas man lang siya dito, at least get one. That would be very nice. Pero si Rio mauuna. CJ, first one down. Azimit will get Rio up next. Pero nawalan pa nga na short control itong AGT. I'm surprised na hindi pa nag-react yung mga long players off of that short push, actually.
Sayang hindi naging synced in yung timing no? While Rio was coming up, yung LA players, anda na rami-rami na sana nilang gagawin yun no? Kung hinayaan na lang nitong si Yotib, pwede naman siguro samahan ito ng CR7 no? Pero mukhang may second attempt, pero Azimit with that shot, double kill papunta kay Aero tsaka CR7. Not looking good for the default of AGT now. Naiwan pa nga yung Teres player na si Yotib na nakakuha ng isa dito kay Alret, so at least there's some damage done. 1v3, napakalayo ng C4, lots of time para makakonsider yung positions ng Vengeance ngayon para sa AGT.
Yeah, they're not gonna peak itong there anytime soon. So, ayun nga, we're gonna see itong si Yotib try to navigate his way pabalik nga dito sa short Suwa. Tamang crouch peek lang as he does get itong si Yotib at the end. Overall, solid defense lang naman from Vengeance. First pick agad from the B side and going into yung short. I mean, granted, no, ang ganda na ng opening dito ni Rio, pero inaantay ko yung follow-up eh. Galing dito sa AGT from their long position na, okay, meron ng pressure galing kay Rio, distracted na yung mga A players, so where's the rest of the offense para dito sa AGT na magagaling sa, or papunta nga dito sa A side. So I'm just surprised na ganun sila ka-disconnected dito sa Black Widow, pare. But at the same time, I feel like there's a bit of fear in the back of their heads na baka meron na nakanood na sniper dun sa long or possibly dun sa rampa. So, maybe that slight moment of hesitation, pare, na-trap sila dito sa LA.
Sayang no? Game plan na sana nila yun at kung maayos pa sana yung pag-sync in nila, baka naman mas maayos yung pag-take nila all the way towards A. I think communication is not their strongest point right now, so habang nagda-dead round, possible na yun, dapat yung pag-usapan nila no? But I think yun din yung naging problems nila dun sa mga previous nilang games. Even in that All Sovereign game, there were a lot of rounds na medyo nabigay pa nga kahit medyo naging winnable pa para dito sa AGT. So it's a really huge sign na yung communication talaga yung issue for them, and in this week it's the same thing all over again. So hopefully mapag-usapan nila maayos to, but there's also a big priority as well na dapat din nating sabihin na maayos din naman yung naging defense na sinabi mo on Vengeance. Granted na hindi sila masyadong gumalaw all across the map to actually do this. It is a good sign for them papasok dito sa ating second round.
Yeah, for sure. Pero ayun nga, AGT, I really feel like gusto kong makita na si A42 at least to live more dito sa round natin, considering siya yung parang playmaker para sa kanyang team. I mean, napansin mo kanina yung ginawa ni Azenit in that short position, immediately recognizing na meron silang numbers advantage dito, and without a moment's notice, nag-peek siya dito sa short in order to look for a further lead. That's what you need, especially in the higher level ng Impact, even at the level ng Masters dito. You can't just sit around. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands, pare.
Now, LA push coming down. AGT hindi na nagsaslow down na. Pinapasok na agad. Nandun na rami-rami, pero Alreds prepared. Alreds with the second frag. Aero and A42. Pinatulog na mabilis lamang. Mahimbing para dito kay Azenit na nakuha na ng double kill. The AA brothers from Vengeance already laying down the law. Dito sa may LA. Nabagsak pa nga yung C4 at na-shutdown pa nga si Yotiv. That's a quick 2-0 para sa Vengeance.
Yun lang. You can't force out long exactly like that, pare. But at the same time, just really good shots galing kay Alreds. I like this patience galing dito sa Vengeance. Di nila minamadali na mag-fight back dito sa push ng AGT. They're just playing their just positions dito, obviously making AGT commit very deep dito sa LA and in the crosshairs of so many other players similar to this dito sa mid. Short push agad galing sa Vengeance, and that's a triple kill para kay Alreds. A42 na lang natitira. And this is what I was talking about. Sometimes you just have to send it. And Vengeance, if they send it and they get the kill, pare, they're just gonna keep on going. And that is the essence ng Black Widow dito, men. A42 right up next. That's gonna be 3-0.
Sayang, boss. Sa gantong mid-push, ang hinahanap nila, ang hanap sana ng BL dito ay yung smoke all the way towards the mid-side. Alam na alam mo yung stage, hindi siya super safe dahil sa presence na sniper na ngayon si Alreds nakakuha ng napakaraming kills. Ayun nga, from that mid-push, really isn't working out for AGT. They're sending it, and they're sending it right here, right now. CR7 down, Rio gets that first blood. Si Aero na makakuha ng 2-for-1 para dito sa AGT. At least comfortably, they get the numbers advantage. Pero yun nga lang, Sua, nakabawi na agad. The sub coming back in, showing a little bit more impact para sa AGT. Pero yun nga lang, CJ, already called upon dito sa may LA at mukhang hindi pa masaspatan ni Yotiv. Prepared para sa quick scope. Look at that adjustment. Yotiv on a high note right now.
Yeah, I mean, big shot galing kay Yotiv dito. Kung namatay siya dito sa long, would have been a done deal for the rest of the push. So AGT, let's see. Can this be the first round on the board para sa kanila dito? Maybe a win on their BL side finally. Pero Sua, Rio in a very, very good spot. Routes out in the corner. Di siya masaspatan ni Sua dito. Sua will get baited in. And it's a very easy retake defense para sa AGT as they get their first dito sa game natin.
a slight variation sa ginawa nila kanina, mid-push kanina, no? Not because of the mid-smoke that was, honestly, wala naman doon. Yung ginawa naman nila is naghiwalay pa yung dalawa para lang mas maayos yung naging push nila on that mid-side. There was a possibility as well na baka mas patan na sana yung LA player na si Yotib. But buti na lang, his mechanics definitely on point so far. So maagap, yun nga lang, si Iro naman ang nagpakitang gilas sa LA push natin. Azanet and CJ down. Vengeance now trying to roll back dito sa ating A site with the defense now put on notice. AGT have a lot of time para makapag-consider ng options sila.
Yep. I mean, considering na pabina dito si Rio with that AUG, so I think yun nga, AGT is gonna consider that option. I mean, you already got two players dito sa A. Obviously, defense magsa-spread out dito sa A at B site. So, either way, it is a 4v2 or a 4v1. Depende na lang kung saan ka mapapadpad dito. Pero AGT, yeah, it looks like a quick burst B. Suwa, if he doesn't die immediately dito, pare, VNG can still get back into this.
Yeah. As definitely not that he's in a committed position, no? Peeked on in the window at mukhang napakadali lang para sa kanya. The flick coming through kay Rio as well. This guy has definitely have given a chance para dito sa Vengeance ngayon. But Aero quickly gets a double para lang mas maayos na yung entry ng AGT sa loob ng B. Kailangan lang ilipat yung bomba papunta doon sa may kabaong para mas malapit na silang magsama dito kay Kara in this 1v2. 50 seconds. Vengeance are relying on the one player but Yotib will hit the shot. AGT with that 2-3 start.
Nang sumobra yung strafe to ni Kara. Probably no one told him na buhay pa dito yung sniper ng AGT. Or at least buhay pa si Yotib. So, pretty good play galing sa AGT. Granted, it was very basic, no? Tamang presence lang dito sa LA. You know, draw a push galing dito sa VNG and go right back into the B site. Hey, sometimes you just have to play simple, man. Especially pagdating sa mapa ng Black Widow, which is a map that's very straightforward, in all honesty. So, overall, good job galing sa AGT, man. I mean, back to basics, but a dub is a dub, pare.
Totoo, pre. I mean, I think sa ganitong sitwasyon, no, you gotta give credit as well sa naging game plan nila. Hindi na pinakomplikado pa. Nagsama na sila all the way back towards that house B. Tapos nung na-separate pa nga yung Vengeance in that 1v2, inayaan na lang nila na, sige, ilakad na lang natin yung bomba papunta doon sa may kabaong without the smoke as well. But the short position, definitely unnoticed. Azanet and CJ, look at that proactive push in towards mid. Kara with another one though. And Aero, CR7, lots of picks papunta dito sa Vengeance as Aldrich hits the shot yet again. And A42 also, binigyan na yung buhay niya papunta kay Kara. It's a 4-2 para sa Vengeance. At this point, ngayon na sila naging risky, pare.
Yun nga. I mean, I really like the timing galing dun sa Vengeance. I mean, 1 minute and 24. Eventually, you're gonna get antsy. Of course, you do want to push from time to time, no? To kind of set the pace for the round. Pero, a bad spray galing dito kay Kara. Alret's gonna go down as well. Aero will finally eat the dirt. Pero yun lang, AGT, they're already scrambling para kumuha ng mid-control dito. And I like this play. Very heads-on. Pero makukuha ba nila dito si Azanet? Yes, they can. Pero CJ, buhay na buhay pa dito sa loob ng B-side. CR7, spotted. Pero di na makukuha doon si CJ. I mean, I'm surprised na hindi na narinig si CJ doon from all that shooting.
A little bit of an over-aggression from CR7. Sayang pre kasi meron siya sana magiging under control. Pero yun nga, I think it's also a really bad position for him kung magro-rotate sila all the way back and towards that B-side. So AGT, at least may time sila para mapag-plat dito sa may B-site natin as Vengeance. Are relying upon CJ and Sua. The first time that this duo is gonna play sa Impact Summer natin. Let's see how they fare well in the retake. Si Rio, nasa may kabaong na, spotted na si Sua. Kailangan niya maging careful. Nakapasok na agad si CJ. It's a 1v1. Yotib does not hit the shot yet. CJ, may time siya para lumapit. Lumalapit kay Yotib. Na agad na napatay lang ng ganong kadali. A headshot from CJ. And a 5-2 para sa Vengeance.
Yun nga. Unfortunately, he was put in a 50-50, no? I mean, the door is right behind you. Pero mapapaisip ko na lang, do I go away or do I just take this fight? Do I have enough HP? Pero yun lang, in the middle of that confusion, CJ right between the window, getting that angle going. Very nice 1v1. VNG taking their fifth and they want to keep going. Dito sa laruan natin, Azanet will get only one. Actually, I thought it was three, pero Azanet still live and alive dito sa laruan natin. It's a 2-4-2 so far, or a 3-4-2 so far, and now it is a 4-4-2 para dito sa VNG. Rio na lang natitira sa short with an AUG. Granted, it's got very, very good spray accuracy. Yun nga, as displayed. As in, it will go down, pero it's gonna take a whole lot of effort para makabalik dito sa round natin.
1v2, Rio. I don't think na-spot pa nga niya yung window player na si Kara. And that LA push, the MVP there was the flasher, man. And Kara, who just finds himself an opportunity kay Rio, that one tap. Pero yun nga pare, no? Yung LA push na yun, yung pinakamalaking difference maker is yung mga nagbabato ng utility. And buti na lang, Azanet was just keeping his shots going, no? Kasi dahil dun sa push, lahat sila nakapag-push na agad all the way back in towards the cube. At yun na nga, parang yun ang mangyayari ulit, no? Si Sua naman yung spearhead, si Aero ang kukuha ng patay sa kanya daw. So, big punishment. Low on HP si Aero, so kailangan siya dapat na mauna. Pero baka mauna pa siya sa bangkay bago pa siya magkaroon ng opportunity. As in it down, CJ also a huge punishment. AGT prepared for the push this time around.
Yun lang. They got a bit too excited to get all those long players down. Alrets will get itong si Yotib. I mean, possibilities are endless dito sa round natin. CR7 low HP. Pero si Rio na lang pala tatapos doon. 6-3 AGT. Thwarting a long push galing dito sa Vengeance once again. It looked chaotic, pare. It looked very, very chaotic. I mean, yun naman talaga nangyayari dito sa Black Widow, no? It's a very, very common sight na nakikita natin. Meron talagang mga long players na really just refuses to give map control. And I can't blame them, no? Kasi that's an additional entrance either on defense and or offense dito, no? So, ayun nga, really, really well fought long hold para dito sa AGT, pare.
Yeah, and back-to-back rounds as well. You see two variations of different results as well. Kung saan it was, I think, all three players, tapos yung isa nag-hold back for the flash. And that flash actually worked out so well in that. Yung the second time around na ginawa nila yun, nalagyan pa ata ng smoke, tapos yun pa ata yung nagbigay ng coverage para sa AGT. Kaya mas madali yung naging conversion doon sa rounds dito. At dahil doon sa trading, mas padali din yung trabaho nila dito para matrabahuan nila ang mga nagpupush all the way towards LA. So medyo varying yung naging results natin dito, pero I think it also tells you that both teams are willing to fight for that LA control, na re-recognize sila yung malaking halaga ng Teres para kay Yotib, who, let's be real, kapag masyado nag-overpush yung mga players on Vengeance, he will actually be the one punishing them. But in the end, Vengeance still have the lead ngayon, and it's all thanks to how well coordinated yung nagiging pushes nila from LA at saka yung retake scenarios din nila, pare.
Yeah, pero para sa akin, no, for the second half, I feel like AGT should just try to send it dito sa long and see what happens. Pero hindi. Actually, they're gonna calm down, back all the way up at post yung kanilang aggression magagaling dito sa rampa sa mid. Pero Vengeance, I mean, same energy galing sa kanila dito. Very careful start. I mean, hindi ko alam nila na kung sino man makakuha ng first round dito is probably gonna dictate the rest of the pace dito sa second half.
Yeah. At this point, Vengeance back to their calling card. Ang usual na BL side na nagtatake ng isang minuto bago pa lang sila magkaroon ng desisyon. Jonassy just means that AGT now have the cards. Rio, what a nice timing kay Sua. Tinatry pa lang na sanang i-jiggle peak yung pag-push all the way towards ES, pero that's an opportunity for the AWM. Finally, Rio gets his name on the kill feed this time around again.
Yeah, flash for that short position. A42 is gonna hear that, pero Kara still getting si CR7. Maybe a bit of lag on the comms here for the side of AGT.
Again?
Pero A42, I mean, still can make something happen dito sa mid, pero medyo exposed yung kanyang posisyon. Now Kara knows about him too. This is rough para sa AGT. They're trying to get that trade back, pero hindi nila makuha dito. As in it now having long control. And AGT, dahil nga medyo passive in defense nyo, granted, double sniper. I mean, pag dito mamaya sa side nyo dito, this is a done deal.
Oo nga At mukhang kitang-kita yung posisyon, pero Yotib still has the shot.
Oh,
Yotib from left to right. Kumonekta ang lahat ng AWM players. At si Alrets, mukhang isa na siya sa dapat kumuha ng 1v3 natin this time around. 40 seconds, ang layo pa. Kailangan tahakin para lang maplant yung bomba sa loob ng A-site natin sa dinarami-rami na nasa loob ng A-site natin. punong-puno sa site. Akala mo overloaded ng GR ang A-site natin, kaya medyo mahirapan si Alrets. Dapat magbigay ng timing agad ang AGT. Spotted 1 and A42 will get the opening frag. Diit pa lang sa ating 6-4 win.
Yun nga, no? I mean, it's a bit of an unorthodox na A defense. Kaya nga na sinabi ko, kung walang or may isa sa kanilang magbintis with AWM, that's a done deal, pero buti na lang. At walang nag-miss dito sa AGT na squad. So let's see if they can recover exactly like that going into itong next round natin. Kara at the start, bawas agad. Pero dahil nga dito, walang choice yung VNG. They need to keep this AWM in the hands dito ni Kara. Alrets possibly might have to switch back to a rifle. Pero yun nga, it's a common vengeance start. They just want to punish yung mga aggression talaga ng AGT at the start of the round. I think they're very aware naman talaga na may bad tendencies itong AGT na mag-push forward from time to time, no?
Oo. Pero ito yung sa mga times na hindi nangyayari yun, no? Parang nare-recognize nila na kapag massive yung kalaban nila, hindi nila kailangan mag-overpeak because Kara definitely has gotten himself the first blood dito. CR7 trying to replicate yung ginawa ni Rio kanina. Na mukhang hindi yun yung mangyayari sa ating round ngayon. So it will be an early 1-0 so far para sa Vengeance. Slowly walking in towards yung short position natin. Na mukhang wala namang kukuha ng opportunity. As Alrets will have to be the one to hit the shot dito. Si Yotib ang mga kalaban niyan, who's already anchored down doon sa loob ng A-site natin. If he hits the shot, talaga madadalayan ng defense ng AGT. As Alrets, he's trying to jiggle peek kung saan siya ma-expect na isang sniper.
Couch peek. Oh, we almost got them too. I mean, nagkatamaan sila doon. Yotib hitting itong si Alrets on the second time round. Kara will live to tell another day. Pero Kara actually getting itong si Yotib. Arrow on the other side of the map and will get itong si Kara. What just happened in this round? Nagkabagsakan na from that short position. The C4 na andito sa RS and I think hindi yata aware itong si Arrow na low dito si CJ. CJ, oh, not spotting him on the bridge cross. Pero
No
Arrow, this could be either the best rotation or the worst rotation you've ever made. And the end result is the answer dito, pare. Pero 15 seconds, not much time para mag-type ng numbers dito sa C4 natin. And CJ has to decide and he's gonna decide right actually. Arrow miles away galing dito sa B site.
Coin flip decision at mukhang nakapag-heads ang idol nating si CJ. 40 seconds with the bomb plant down and Arrow galing pa siyang kabilang bansa, pare. Kaya ang daming oras para mag-repo itong si CJ at mukhang alam na niya agad na napakalayo pa dito si Arrow, who definitely has a time now. Back in towards the site we go. 20 seconds. CJ missed out on the timing, pare. Sayang na sayang, pero may opportunity pa. Since si Arrow mukhang busy at spotted pa nga yung barrel niya. So balik na agad dito sa site, Arrow. I don't think he has a chance, man. It will be an easy headshot para kay CJ. A clutch coming through para sa Vengeance is 7-4.
Yun nga, I mean, there's only two ways na yung kalabasan na 1v1 na yun, especially pag ubigot ka na malayuan. It's either you guessed super right na by the time na nagpa-planta yung kalaban, he's right in front of your crosshair, or yung pala nasa kabilang side ng mapa and he gets to spin on you instead. Unfortunately, para sa AGT, it was the opposite. Pero yun nga, as in it, getting another one, A42 down, trying to recoup yung kanyang teammate na si CR7 who went for a long push early. And yun lang, another round where AGT is down at the start of the timer dito, pare. Pero yeah, it's gonna take a heroic effort galing sa isa sa mga players dito. Maybe some sort of individual play. Pero as in it, will get Yotib switching the sniper from his teammate. Grabe, Vengeance are stepping on the gas dito sa Black Widow, pare.
Wow, wait. Hinahayaan lang ni Arrow na dumaan tong si CJ. At mukhang hinahanap niya yung magandang timing. Spotted yung tatlo. Possibly the first blood. Kara down. CJ spotted. Doesn't have the bomb, kaya kailangan niyang patayin muna agad tong si Arrow para matapos yung round natin dito. 3 versus 1. Arrow taking advantage of this. Alam na agad kung saan siya magagaling. Tinitingnan niya flank. Pinapatay na sa kabaong. Alrets gonna try to push in with that Colt in hand. Yun nga lang sa window with that perfect flash. It's enough para mapatay agad si Arrow dito into 8-4, pare. Vengeance on their BL. Yung passive approach na talagang agad-agad na trabaho. Yung aggressive po sa LA ng AGT.
Yun nga, 2 more points for Vengeance to close out yung game natin potentially. Rio, very nice position from short, pero kung maspatan siya dito ni Alrets, that's gonna be doom and gloom potentially for AGT again. Pero Vengeance, yung classic slow start galing sa kanila dito, holding back as far as possible. AGT not realizing no na may opportunity silang kumuha ng mga early angles dito, pero seems like only Rio gonna be getting it. CR7 will take down itong si Aldrets and Suwa up next. C4 down dito sa HM. Kara naghahanap ng trade pero wala naman. Nakaalis na si CR7.
Oh man, sobrang lethal talaga pag ginamit mo as info at saka pang aggression yung ES natin no? An opportunity para sa mga napaka-aggressive players nating CR7 who has been showing improvement all throughout the weeks natin. Kills off Suwa, kills off Aldrets. At least there's a trade-off dito kay Rio who is down for the count into a 3 versus 4 where they're now relying on CJ para matradean yung dalawang napas lang sa Vengeance. Now peeks on to CR7. Kung mapipeak nga siya ng ganito, yun nga yung mangyayari pre. Headshot found. 3v3. Mid open. ES wide open. Yung short pwedeng kunin. Si Yotib yung pinakamalaking challenger dito. Dapat ma-hit niya yung shot dito. At least kay Azenit. Para lang ma-slow down yung tempo ng push from Vengeance.
Yeah, there is a bit of help though galing dito kay Aero. From outside the box, Yotib. Uy, despite being somewhat of a slow scope, still getting itong si Azenit somehow, some way. So C4 is down. Gonna temporarily slow down itong Vengeance sa kanilang pagplant ng A side. CJ finally typing the numbers pero A42 around the corner. Looking for CJ first. Pero si CJ pala makakahanap ng dalawa doon. 4 bullets, 2 heads in an instant. 9-4 Vengeance, 1 point away.
Nakikita mo na nga yung AGT sinusuntok ang buwan sa sobrang sayang ng round na yun. Sana kung mabilisan lang yung trade pagkatapos yung unang patay galing kay CJ. Aldrets and CJ mukhang gusto na matapos yung first set natin. May gagawin pa mga idol pagkatapos ng ating series. That's gonna be 8-0 trying to get a lot of damage done dito sa may House B defense. Pero yun nga, Azenit nakalapit, mukhang palapit sa pagpatay dito kay Yotib who's also low on HP. CR7 gonna take advantage of that. Yotib gonna get the call out. 2v2 trying to hold down yung House B natin. Suwa going in and out of the fight, trying to see if he can kill up tong si CR7. Pero Aldrets now joining up with him to make this a 2 versus 1. Si Suwa na napatay tong CR7 will now leave Yotib all alone with low on HP pare.
Oh, no scope. Yotib sent it. Oh, but with the Colt, I mean, it has to be 2-1 taps in a row. How is he alive still? Yotib. And he's out. Pero yun lang. I mean, barely any HP to work with. Good angle galing dito kay Yotib, but he's gonna have to guess through the smoke kung dadaan ba sila or hindi. Window position gonna be occupied. Wala ng HE ang mga Vengeance members to try and get this. Pero Aldrets was already staring at itong window B. Vengeance getting a 10-4 dito sa Black Widow. And can't say I didn't expect it, no. This is their best map and they performed exactly as expected, pare.
Yeah, I mean, good job talaga para sa Vengeance. Definitely the players that you expect to perform have definitely performed at the standard. Yung mga aggressive pushes na sinespearhead ni Azenit, especially nung nag-start sila doon sa GR, yung mga times na medyo naging 50-50 pa nga sana, yung naging peaks on long A, yung AGT. And the only times na nakikita natin sa YouTube na nagkaroon ng ter push is yung one time na yon nung mga first rounds natin. But after that, medyo na-dictate na nga ng Vengeance yung tempo ng game natin from GR alone, no? From pushes on LA, as I mentioned, yung pag-kills nila doon sa may mid na honestly, it could have gone either way doon sa time na yun, no? Pero once na nagkaroon ng grasp yung Vengeance, doon pa lang sa first half natin, alam na nila kung paano dapat to laruin as a whole. Knowing that AGT likes to play that aggressively, hinahayaan na lang nilang medyo ilaro na lang ng AGT yung mapa kasi by the end of it, yung mga setups, yung magre-reign team para sa kanila, no?
Yeah, for sure. Pero, ayun nga, no, it didn't feel like itong AGT did have control of the game the entire time that I was watching, no? Na feeling ko yung mga panalo dito ng AGT was more about PNG making mistakes rather than them really forcing anything dito sa mapa natin. Granted, may mga rounds naman na nakakuha dito ng play itong si A42 or CR7, maybe even itong si Rio, no? And Aero having some very, very nice shots dito sa baka ibang baka rounds na napanalo nga nila dito. Pero in terms of overall control dito sa mapa, wala. Hindi ko naramdaman yung AGT having real control over yung Black Widow, pare.
Yeah. It's medyo heartbreaking to say that, pero it is the truth at the end of the day. Yung AGT, masyado na atang marami ang kailangan ma-figure out bago pa masabi natin na meron nga silang grasp sa ating competition so far. And in this game against Vengeance, mukhang it's not gonna be the different story na medyo hinahanap ng mga underdogs na gusto sana ma-root ang AGT dito sa game natin, since Vengeance, even doon pa lang sa ating GR, it had so much control, especially on the important parts of the map. Yung pag-hold nila dun sa may house B that really needed a little bit more setup than usual. Tapos, again, yung LA push na sabi ko kanina, no? Which also kind of talks about siguro yung parang change in playstyle this time around. This is the team that we can kind of see moving forward if Sua and CJ continue to actually have this synergy. And I guess CJ being the sub-in from last week pa lang, doing really good results. It tells you that this guy really is a shoe-in dito sa Vengeance ngayon. Now na second week pa lang niya sa Impact Summer, pare.
Yeah, I mean, really glad na CJ's performance kind of panned out for Vengeance, especially knowing na he didn't perform too well dito sa kanilang last na series, so maybe getting a bit more comfortable dito sa Vengeance, kind of helping him here. At the same time, I feel like Sua being back dito sa roster really changes a lot para sa kanila dito. I think Sua, he's the perfect support for a player like itong si Kara. Pero granted, I think Kara didn't carry as hard as we expected dito sa laruan natin. It was actually rest of the team kind of stepping up to the plate. More teamwork galing dito sa Vengeance. They felt more like a team today kumpara sa mga ibang laruan nila.
Medyo ironic yung kung sin team ng may Arise Gaming team nga naman sa pangalan Medyo individualism yung nakikita natin sa kanilang Black Widow. Ang daming picks na ginakuha nila from those picks, wala sila nakuha masyado map control. CR7 having good entries, pero by the end of it, medyo nakukuha lang din sa mga retake scenarios ng Vengeance. So, at least they have some firepower. At least nag-hit yung mga shots ni Yotib. Pero kung gusto nila makakuha ng decisive results, kailangan nilang i-step up, lalo na dito sa ating second set map, which honestly is still looking pretty good para dito sa Vengeance. So, what more can be said other than kailangan nilang mag-improve dito sa second set natin, pare?
Well, ayun nga, Vengeance are kind of known as a team that really relies on itong Black Widow, and pagdating naman sa mga ibang mapa natin, they do perform slightly worse, pero is that slightly worse gonna be enough to beat itong AGT, pare? I think so, pero pagdating sa mapa ng Port, there is gonna be a lot of questions, kasi ayun nga, AGT did pick it, so obviously Vengeance, magsisimula sila dito sa GR side, and they're gonna get that very, very good start, potentially, unless magkamali sila na malala dito sa first half, and then that's a chance para sa AGT na makabalik dito sa game natin, kasi it's sport. If you really do play it correctly, you could have a very, very dominating game or a very good comeback, pare. Depende talaga.
Yeah, I see. And honestly, pag nakita natin yung highlights natin, by the end of it, you could kind of notice that parang hindi masyadong gumagalaw din yung Vengeance, even under GR. Just really good defense all across the board. I think a few pushes from Azenit really has set the tone para sa naging performance din on the end of the day. There were some times that AGT have bundled up together as a team, tapos doon na lang nila tinry na ma-overwhelm yung mga depensa nila. But after those times, minsan nagiging isa-isa na lang parang attempt para makakuha ng first pick, pero napapatay lang sila agad-agad ng mga riflers o kaya ng mga snipers ng Vengeance ngayon. So considering this Sneaky Frog, this port map, it's a different map compared to yung structure ng Black Widow natin. Are you expecting that Vengeance closes us out 2-0, or may palag nga ba if nakapag-online nga yung mga star players natin? Like, isipin mo kung nakapag high performance yung AGT, do you think that's enough para mapatay yung Vengeance ngayon?
Well, this really does fall into the shoulders ni Yotib at ni Rio, Itong map number 2 natin, I feel like the snipers have a lot of responsibility when it comes to the map of Port, considering na you are defending literally isang side ng mapa, and if you don't hit any of your shots as a sniper, then potentially you could just lose the entire side. So, I feel like yung snipers ng VNG are doing slightly better, pero not to the point na masasabi ko na maybe sobrang one-sided yung first half natin dito. Pero may mind na daw, man. May malay mo si Alrets or itong si Azenit, maybe even si Karaman, maybe they're feeling it. And especially considering napaka-prevalent ng double sniper no pagdating sa mapa ng port. I mean, the amount of people that can snipe dito sa team ng Vengeance, that's definitely gonna provide some trouble no dito sa AGT.
Yeah, on the map of port in particular as well. So talagang kailangan maging preparado na sana ang AGT sa pagpasok ng second set natin as Vengeance are looking on tip-top form para sa kanilang first set win. Pero, I mean, considering din that they're coming into this with a pretty low record on our standings ngayon, masyado ng importante na kailangan nilang mag-start na maayos yung set 1 natin. Pero for this set, from the set summary, kitang-kita yung mga standouts. Si Azenit na masasabi natin is usually expected na dapat maging consistent para sa team niya. Sometimes si Kara dapat yun, pero Kara kind of took a little bit of a backseat in terms of his performance. He didn't need to do that much kasi yung ibang mga nag-a-aggress para sa team niya, itong si CJ, itong si Alrets, tumatama naman yung mga ayos ng shots in. No? So for Vengeance, it's all good para sa kanila. Para naman sa AGT, I think there's a lot more that we have been saying all throughout the broadcast na parang hindi na natin kailangan ulitin. This needs a lot of talking about, pare.
Yeah, I mean, Aero still very nice job. Yotib still very nice job. Rio, I mean, 0.9 pare. Very, very nice. You know, a bit disappointed siguro sa performance ni A42 considering na he has been one of the better performers pero dito sa AGT. Pero, I mean, Vengeance, man, they're just a bit too good pagdating sa mapa ng Black Widow. I mean, CJ 1.71, 1.44 para kay Alrets. Azenit with a 1.45. No, overall, solid performance. So we're gonna take a look at the set MVP natin and it is gonna be CJ. So congratulations to CJ, man, the new guy, notching one dito sa Impact, pare.
True. Against the likes of Azenit at saka yung iba pang mga players ng Vengeance, he has showed na he has really good performances when he's consistent, pare. He's not somebody that you'd expect to be the spearhead, but kung kailangan nyo na magandang mag-trade, which honestly has been yung naging storya ng Black Widow natin, si CJ yung mismo nakakuha ng mga reliable multi-frags para sa team ng Vengeance ngayon. No? So good job kay CJ, at especially congratulations para kay Vengeance. They take yung Black Widow map ang isa sa mga paboritong mapa ng Vengeance ngayon. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na nanalo sila doon sa first set tapos na yung buong game, diba? May second set pa tayo. Ang pwedeng pambawi para sa AGT ang port map kung saan kailangan mag-step up ang bawat player ng AGT. Yan nga ba yung mangyayari? Or may 2-0 ba to? Malalaman niya yan pagbalik ng Impact Summer. Ako pala si Ramon, kasama ko si Sneepy Brog at hindi kami alis, magbabalik ng Impact Summer. Magtutuloy ang karera para sa top 4 sa pagbabalik ng Cfs PH Impact Summer 2025. Ang Vengeance versus Arise Gaming Team kung saan 1-0 na ang Vengeance ngayon sa ating serye. Mga Sermon, kasama ko si Sneaky Frog, kami ang casters ninyo para sa serye na ito. At sa port map natin ay mukhang slated na for victory ang Vengeance natin dito unless may gagawin ng AGT dito, pare.
Yeah, I mean, AGT, no, they could probably still, get something going dito sa mapa na to. I mean, Port, it is going to be very tough para sa kanila to, get something going dito sa first half considering natalo na kayo sa map number 1 and then maglalaro pa kayo ng PL start pagdating sa mapa ng Port. So, yun nga, you gotta keep that mental steady, no? And I really feel like makakatulong dito sa AGT is possibly a very, very early round dito sa blacklist side nila kasi, yun nga, kung isang puntos ka or dalawa, I mean, especially pag round 1, nagawa nyo na agad. I mean, you can kind of roll with the punches, no? Kasi hindi pa alam ng PNG ano yung tamang setup para i-defend yung usual offense ng AGT. So, I mean, Vengeance, no? It's a setup for success yung kanilang panalo dito sa series considering na pwede pa nilang ituloy-tuloy yung kanilang momentum rolling from this map number 1.
Yeah, but honestly, as well, we gotta remember na AGT have also been the one who took this map. Kaya yung Vengeance sila yung nagpili ng kanilang magiging GR side natin. So a bit more of that good news into the wayside para dito sa Vengeance natin no? Since this is a map na medyo mahirap nga naman mag-entry. So we're expecting a lot more coming from A42 as you mentioned kanina dun sa break natin. No? Parang he is the guy na usually would make some good plays pero sa lahat ng mga tinatry niyang i-attempt, nasi-shutdown siya agad ni Alretz no? From the sniper who now will also have the spotlight on him right now kasi Port is one of those maps where the sniper is very much highlighted. So yung mga top A plays na usually yung sniper nga naman yung magiging star si Alretz yung kukuha na mantle na yun, kailangan na matrabaho ng AGT ang ma-counter yung top A player natin na si Alretz mamaya.
Yeah, for sure, no? And A42 definitely you do have a good point sa kanya dito. If he doesn't really step up to the plate, especially he's gonna be possibly the guy opening up itong B site, then we're probably gonna look at a big lead dito sa BNG in the first half. Pero let's see, Yotib round the corner. Gamit na kanyang AWM. It's a standard 3-2. A lot more relaxed dito sa A site considering walang presence, no? Pero may dalawang players na nakakit ng CA. Sua will get A42. And that was just a shot through the smoke, pare.
Oh,
or no,
man.
actually, na-push si A42. A bit wild. Medyo malayo yung kampi mo, min.
So nga eh. Kung ganun, dapat kasama na sana nung si Yotib. Pero again, he's also the sniper. But at this point, you gotta let nung si Yotib sana yung lumapit. But now,
What
Azenit
is going on?
also gets a spray through the smoke, man. Nag-iisa-isa na lang ang AGT at si CR7 sumunod pa nga sa bangkay. Lahat ng mga players ng AGT ngayon, si Alex na nakuha ng headshot from the sniper as well. So all good para sa Vengeance. Hindi na kinailangan na magtrabaho para sa mga kills nila, sila na mismong lumalapit para sa unang panalo ng Vengeance.
Yeah, and medyo nagkagulo nga dito yung AGT nung namatay dito si A42. I mean, could have just recouped, maybe push one side of the map dito, pare. But AGT, I think three individual opportunities, pare, and all three of them unfortunately did not find it. So, ayun nga, Vengeance, first round on the board. And AGT agad, and they're not gonna go that aggressive, no? At most, si CR7 is probably gonna try to take itong CA control and maybe A-side take, standard A-side take lang, tamang nades lang from that CA position, pressure itong si Azenit off of that mid. But I'm gonna have to wait and see, man. Medyo lumalaban dito si Azenit. Oh, and that's a good shot, kali kay Kara. A42, not being careful na baka may tao dun sa CA, pero Sua will get CR7.
Back-to-back rounds na pick off ng maaga. And a pick off all the way towards Rio. There's a possibility for him to cut off the rotation. Kara also spotted from CA. Lots of damage done sa sniper. At mukhang si Rio pa nga nakakuha ng patay sa top A player na si Alres. CJ also down. What a good play for Rio. Finds opportunity sa bridge. At may time pa siya para makapag-rotate pabalik doon sa may LA. Mukhang Sua and Kara have no info. At dito pa lang, medyo kailangan maging careful tong si Kara. That's a wallbang out to Rio. That's an opportunity for the retake scenario. Nakabalik ng maayos until napatay siya sa likod. Itong si Aero into this 1v2 na iniwan lamang kay Sua.
Yeah, Sua. Bridge position. YouTube nandito sa long arrow on that top A. Sua spotted already dito sa may bodega and will get taken down by arrow. Not gonna let that slip by. 1-1. I mean, yung sinasabi ko, man, get some good early rounds para sa AGT. Way better setup para sa kanila this time with a bit more mid control. You know, get a bit of presence dito sa B side. I like that galing kay Rio na he went for an aggressive play. And speaking of aggressive, AGT wanting to go in dito sa B side natin. 842 CR7 nakakuha na ng dalawa pero Azanit with the flank galing sa Z. Can he get any kills? Pero bawas lang dito kay 842 ang nakuha niya. Rio, Yotib, instant T2. Alrets na lang natitira. The A side sniper. And nakaltukan pa nga siya dito, 17 HP and a dream will hit Rio pero hinahabol na siya ng mga AGT players. No, they actually just stay inside of the site. Tamang respeto lang dito kay Aldrets pero tingin na rin yata ni Aldrets dito that possibility of getting back into that B site is 0 to none pare.
Na-realize na ni A42 na hindi niya kailangan gawin ng lahat na mag-isa. Sama-sama na yung AGT para makapasok dun sa may house B and well aware na since there's a possibility of a Z push, hindi na sila naghihintay lamang. Pumasok na sa loob ng B at talagang inayos na nga yung pag-trade off dito pagkapasok sa site itself. So now, there will be an opportunity for AGT to get the lead this time around. And that's thanks to CR7 and A42, the duo rifles na nag-entry na mabilis na hindi nabigyan ng opportunity yung Z player na makapitalize yung punishment.
Ayun nga, Vengeance losing another one. Unfortunate para sa kanila dito pero AGT, possible good spot if they can get another one on the board. Pero Vengeance a lot more passive this time. Hindi na nila nilabanan yung CA, Kara not on that higher position pero I think Vengeance medyo naging weary sa kanilang B-site defense after ang isang napakabilis na rush. So they're now starting to be a lot more assertive sa harap ng smoke na yan. And AGT gonna take advantage of this slight distraction.
Yeah. And this is one of those times na kailangan mag-swap itong si Azanet eh, no? Bogdan slot definitely accounted for a shot kay Adol. That is a possibility for a push in towards LA. CR7, nasa iyo yung smoke, brother. Yung C4 nasa kanya, pinalapit pa nga sa kalaban. And A42 Yotib, kailangan maghukay ng bundok para lang mas madali yung makuha yung objective. Napakalayo sa kanila si A42, at least na yung headshot. 2v2, yung rotation ni Suwa. Dapat perfect yung timing. A42 trying to tease itong si Suwa. Yotib also spotted. That's a call out. That's another shot for Yotib. A 1v2 clutch. AGT got 3 rounds dito sa ating first half.
I mean, hitting that shot under pressure is absolutely insane. Galing kay Yotib, a turnaround, one tap with the Colt. Trapped na nga sila dito sa LA. It was a good play galing kay Suwa to go for that long push. Pero, yun nga, fortunately, that slight timing, that singular second, allowing itong si Yotib to pull out that Colt and get that headshot. Pero yun nga, LA na naman ang target ng AGT. Gusto nila umakyat dito kay Aldrets. Aldrets with the Colt is gonna hit his own headshot pero buhay na buhay pa siya dito sa top A. Actually, Aldrets trying to do as much damage as possible before he goes down. CR7 Yotib will finally get both A defenders pero sobrang tagal ng kanilang take na andito na yung Vengeance. Kumakatok na agad. Nakababa na ng LA. Suwa getting Yotib pero Rio at A42 taken down. 2 of the pieces ng retake defense pare or ng retake dito as 4-1 AGT. This could be the map. This could be a hidden feature na hindi natin na-realize exists within this team, pare.
Ooh, yung rifling trio na hinahanap natin all throughout the series finally waking up. CR7 with the entries, A42 following up, tapos si Rio. Talaga nga naman wala nang takot na nilalabanan yung top A natin, pare. No? So hopefully, this becomes consistent para sa AGT. Nakahanap na nga ng opportunities. And finally, Vengeance put on notice on GR side, pare. Hindi sila makakontrol ng kahit saan dito sa port map dahil sa napaka-aggressive pushes na ginagawa ng AGT from that long A setup.
Yeah, it's a bit more calm this time from both sides. I think na-realize yata ng dalawang teams natin that they might be playing a bit too fast. But at the same time, nandito si Kara sa long. Metal box, perfect position pag nakadaan ka dito without any of the BR players actually spotting you. Pero Aero, very careful about that position considering na very aware siya na medyo iniwan nila yung long A. So the possibility of someone being here is not zero, that's for sure. Pero grabe AGT, they're just holding themselves back for now na baka may lumabas dito sa Vengeance.
And just because of the lack of info, they're not risking yung LA. Ano? Hindi niya alam kung nasan yung sniper. And they don't even know about the triple setup dito on LA. So AGT is not gonna take that risk. On relying on CR7 to get the info from the rotation. I think narinig niya yung pag-rotate na yung sa mga players. So makes it an easier B push. Capitalizing on that info, they're gonna try to push in. Alretz now spotted, gets one. Now playing from Godbox. Kailangan niyang i-push on in, but look at that quick scope kay A42. But at the same time, Rio and CR7 nakakuha pa nga ng 2 picks para dito sa 3v3 natin. Flashed on in. An opportunity for AGT to get the bomb down yet again. And Vengeance gonna have to rely upon this double flank para lang maayos yung may giritik nila dito, Sneaky.
Yeah, as in it coming in from behind, Yotib, Rio, medyo magulo yung kanilang position. Rio can actually get taken down. Pero yun lang, bawas na bawas si VNG players. The timing goes all wrong, as in it. Can't get another one. Yotib nasa loob ng sight.
Oh!
But then the crossfire comes, as in it, with barely a sliver of HP. Does survive the round, does finally get the retake going. After a bit of a streak, AGT finally concede the round against itong VNG. And VNG, man, the struggles finally stop temporarily dito pare, but they need another one right after this.
A textbook 3v2 coming into the wayside of Vengeance. They put 2 people on the double flank and then they trade each other off para mas maayos yung entry. And this time, Kara is not scared anymore. CR7 down, but that is a popcorn straight up by Yotib. Signed on in, and Kara will also receive it. It's a 3v3 pakatapos ng expected push shot ni Rio. Despite the smoke, alam na ni Sua kung ano yung nangyayari dito. So now, it is an open midside and as well as LA for AGT. Pero still, because of the lack of info, parang hindi din sila nagwilling na kumuha ng mga opportunities dito, pare.
Yeah, a bit of a slower take dito sa mapa natin. Yun nga, after one fist fight sa mid, everybody stops. And in this silence, AGT, gusto nilang pumasok dito na B-site. Pero merong nakastack na 3 players ng VNG. This could be the correct read for the Vengeance squad. And if this flash fails to blind any of the players on the inside, this could be trouble. Sua will spot the crouching sniper A42 trying to enter itong site, pero Arrow A42 will get it. Arrow around the corner will not get the sniper. Alretz doesn't even need yung help dito ni CJ. CJ was just there to witness two, even 3 players fall galing sa AGT, pare.
Totoo, man. Talagang chilling lang si paring Alretz dito as both of the riflers definitely having a good job dun pa lang sa pag-defend on that side of the map. Godbox also prioritized, pero look at the double LA setup. Mukhang Hero does expect that CJ will get the trade. This is what I'm talking about, CJ, pare. The amount of times that this guy has traded yung mga aggressive pushes for AGT, definitely a solid asset para sa kanila so far, no? Especially on the sport map where a solo entry isn't really the most optimal thing, but CJ also expects those CR7. 2 kills for him, possible third, and Rio down as well. Headshots found. Vengeance relied upon by the sub. Pero yun nga, no, patay na agad tong si CJ. Sua will get the opening. It's a 1 versus 3 na para sa AWM player. With that bomb down, mukhang imposible na to para sa kanya. Mas lalo na napatay siya ni Azanit. 4-4 na pambawi para sa Vengeance.
And yeah, Vengeance finally realizing that they're playing the map of Port and it's GR-sided pare. So, and yeah, finally getting some rounds on the board. And Alretz starting to hit some shots. Sua back in his form despite being only back in this game after a bit, pare. And let's see, can Vengeance capitalize on this momentum? Can they at least get a 5-4? Nades are gonna start to fly dito sa LB. Flash gonna come in, pero hesitation pa rin galing sa AGT na pumasok dito. Smoke's gonna go down. That's gonna block the vision ng mga players. And ang daming utility actually na nasayang na agad from that AGT push potentially dito sa LB. And they're gonna need to reroute. Wala silang mid control. Wala silang long control as well. Pero fortunately, VNG, they're a bit distracted considering yung ginawa nila dito sa B-site.
Parang kinuha pa nga yung isang pahina para sa playbook ng Vengeance kapag nagsimula sa BL. Get as much utility as possible sa kalaban. Pero yun nga, it's also gonna be that split push para kay Rio. He's also in danger for 2 people coming through from that mid side as well. So LA, full notice para kay AGT. Alretz on the very comfortable position sa A-top. So dapat tama yung timing, pare. Either kill off Kara first or prioritize the top player dito na ang sniper ng Vengeance. A bit of a tall task ahead of them as Azaret will also give a lot more of that information. 1 minute on the clock. Alretz nonchalant sa ating angle at finally na-spot ba siya? Yung headshot galing kay A42. We needed to step up and unfortunately he sits down. Azanet and CJ, they get a lot of picks para sa Vengeance pero si Kara nandito na din. Ang AGT
Oh my God, Kara.
Double kill for Kara. Yotib to jet the trade. 1v1.
1v1.
It's up against the sub. Yotib does get the bullet to the head. CJ will get the 5th round and Vengeance, although it was a bit too close, they still get the lead para sa GR side nila.
Yeah, but it was so obvious yung ginagawa dito ng AGT. I mean, there's no more presence dito sa B site. Obviously, no noise. I mean, that's an A take 100%. And unfortunately, they got read like a book. Granted, ang ganda ng kill dun kay Alrets. Not enough to take out yung mga bodega players natin. And Arrow with a 3K! Holding itong House B like it's his property and he gets the 4K. Alrets lang makakatigil sa kanya dito. CR7 will get Alrets eventually with that flank. And what a start to a second half para sa AGT.
Putting on his J-Kim cosplay, pare. House B, gate kept para dito kay Aero. 4 headshots. At sa isa-isa na lang pumasok ay talaga nga namang madali lang para kay Aero, pare. So mukhang tatrabauin na ulit ng Vengeance. Si Rio nakakastart ng simula sa smoke bank kay Azanet. Si Suwa naman ako naman per 1. Damage done. And again, the aggressiveness from AGT is looking in tip-top shape. Na-disrupt yung movement at mukhang hirap na hirap ang Vengeance. At least may konting damage done. Papatay pa nga itong si CR7. And in this 3 versus 4, Vengeance have been looking for an answer. And with this punishment, mukhang mas maayos yung magiging default nila dito.
So 5-5 scoreline in a 3 versus 4 AGT. I mean, a position na they can definitely lose from. Pero, oh, Rio, good damage dito kay Kara actually. So that's gonna make it very interesting. Para sa Vengeance, maybe Kara gonna be assigned on that sniper. Yup. To be fair, no, not a bad sniper itong si Kara. And A42, lots of responsibility para sa kanya dito to help itong mid defense. Rio getting a bit frisky sa mid. A42 will actually get itong si Kara, who was holding all the way dito sa backcourt. And a 3v3 does occur. 1 minute and 10 on the clock. Plenty of time para pag-isipan dito ng Vengeance kung saan sila papunta. Pero, yeah, they're running out of room to play here. AGT with all the space to work with dito sa mapa natin.
That indecisiveness now kind of creeping in dito for Vengeance. And they have to find the pick para lang mas maayos yung conversion to the rotate. It's either gonna be yung pick off kay Yotib. But that also puts them in a crossfire. Possibly an answer para dito is yung pag-push all the way towards B. Right now, they're relying on A42 para mas maayos yung magiging depensa nila dito, as now it will be 30 seconds to push on in. A solo anchor. At least malapit dito si Yotib, so if doesn't hit the shot, maayos yung rotate. It will be that one tap all the way to CJ Alrets. Nahihirapan mag-trade pero at least he gets the job done. Yotib also at the right place at the right time. So si Lua bumabalik, nakakuha ng headshot, a 1v1. Si Rio nagpakita. So mas madali yung time niya para makuha yung bomba, i-plant, i-reposition. Pero yun nga, Rio just waiting for the time para kung saan siya papasok. Hindi spotted yung helmet. Na-spot pa ni Suwa. And it's a 6th round for Vengeance.
Grabe, Suwa. Bit of a risky plan para sa kanya dito considering kita yung kanyang ulo, but does get the crouch and the wall bang in time. Gamit yung kanyang M4. Vengeance back in the lead, and this could be them back in the game. House B na naman ang target ng mga BL, pero mapapabalik sila dahil sa mga flashes. Instant reaction, instant rotation actually galing sa mga AGT na players, at gusto pa nilang labanan dito yung House B. This would be a good clear in order to remove Kara from the equation, pero yeah, they're just staying in front of the entrance. Ayaw nilang pumasok dito. They really do respect itong Vengeance, pare.
Kita pa nga ni CR7 yung angle kay Azanet. He does push a little bit too far dito sa ating Z position, but I guess at this point, you're just willing to actually get to as much info as possible. But Vengeance are not willing to actually get a lot more space done. Noise kahit saan. So, since nalaman ng AGT na sa B sila manggagaling, hindi na kailangan gumalaw. And itong si Aero, who's actually been some sort of force dito pa lang sa pagdepensa niya all the way towards the B side. At least meron pang support up from A42, pero a bait and switch setup is gonna be risky even in a position for AGT ngayon. So hinihintay na lang nila siguro yung call coming from other players on Vengeance. Either back in towards Z kung saan may risky yung magiging push na all the way towards curve, or kukomit nila all the way back in towards Aero and A42 right now, Sneaky.
Yep. Flashes are gonna start raining dito sa site. Everybody's blind. A42 spraying, but will only get one arrow not spotted. Dito sa godbox natin, arrow spraying and praying. Suwa's gonna go down. Gara as well. Alrets na lang natitira all the way in the backline ng court position. C4 out in the open dito sa B site. AGT. This win is served on a silver platter, pare. All they have to do is take it.
Ito yung sinasabi ko, pre. Too many rounds given up on your GR side. Vengeance are now suffering, especially on AGT. A really good setup para hindi sila makapasok with that bait and switch. Rio now trying to get the 1v1 happen, but with this, it will be an unfair wallbang from CR7. Thanks to the M4A1, pare, na equalize pa nga ng AGT. And because of how they play around that info, how close all the other players are on the rotation, that B site is looking fully loaded para sa defense ng AGT.
Yun nga, it would have been a good idea kung nakapasok sila ng HP ng mabilisan dito. I mean, that one flash really just stopped that entire push. And yun nga, no, all that momentum from that B push could have led them inside of the B site. All that chaos could have been the key. Pero unfortunately, yun nga, no, Vengeance will not run through a flash. That's for sure. Not the smartest play to do so, especially dito sa LB. Pero, let's see. I mean, Yotib, lots of responsibility dito sa kanilang push and not much help actually galing dito kay Rio. More focused on that mid position.
I think this is the first time that Vengeance are gonna push on that LA now against AGT. At least some support from CR7, pero masyado siyang malayo sa larangan ng digmaan, pare, as now it will be the flash. Smoke's coming down. Will be the contest against top 8 player Yotib. Also smoked on down as Yotib hits the shot despite getting blinded. A jump shot at that. Kara mukhang nagkasalisiyan sila. At mukhang may opportunity para kay Kara. Pero yun nga, that top 8 player Yotib pulls out the cut. Gets the double. And definitely a prime spot para sa AGT, pare. Yung secret sauce pala nila is yung port map natin on GR side.
Yeah, I mean, this is a result of a very, very good first half performance as well, no? I mean, dami nilang rounds nakuha dito sa PL side. And by the time na naka-enter na tayo ng second half, it was already a close affair. So AGT defending really well dito sa A side. Di basta-basta binigay dito yung bodega. And hindi basta-basta nagpatalo yung mga top A players natin. So very, very nice hold despite the speed of that push. And let us see this time, VNG now fully aware na merong threat na nangyayari dito sa mid. Rio already out. CR7 will actually replace him. CR7 low. And pag napatay nila si CR7 dito, that would have been curve. That would have been A potentially, pare.
No nga eh. Medyo malas yung Vengeance dito na nakatakbo pa nga tong si CJ, but CR7 pala, sorry, but at least lots of damage done for him. Mahirapan sa defense kung siya pa nga yung isa mga pillars na mababagsak dito from AGT. So back into a 2-1-1 setup. LA still a possibility, but Vengeance are looking to creep in dito sa may B site. And A42 and Aero, they've been doing a lot of good work defending this side of the map, but because of the lack of control on the way towards Godbox, it looks like it is a possibility. But Azinet gets a shot. That's an entry from CJ on the other side of the map, though. B side wide open. Vengeance taking advantage. CJ gets another one as Alres hits the shot kay Aero. The rotation, definitely not a safe place para sa ating players on AGT ngayon. As CR7 also gets knocked out by lurker na si Azinet. 7-7. Kinakapalan ng muka ang Vengeance sa pagpasok nila dito sa may B side.
Yun nga, Vengeance still fighting back, clawing dito sa lead ng AGT. They're not allowing yung score natin to get too far. Pero yun nga, bit of a stack na naman dito sa mid. AGT not really wanting to give itong CA para makakuha ng 8-take potentially itong Vengeance. But now Vengeance very fully aware sa ginagawa dito ni Rio with the wall bangs in that exit position. They're gonna try to punish it. Suwa though will get CR7. The amount of people holding itong mid just to get this punish, man. Pero si Rio mawawalan din ang buhay. Oh my god, man. We need to back it up a bit here, brother.
Sayang, pre. Isa-isa na silang pumipik. Isa-isa sila masyadong aggressive. Now giving that curve position up, and possibly just requiring one of these players from AGT to actually get somebody doing sa curve natin. That's Aero now. But that also means na mas mabilis yung pag-push nila on the B site. That is if papapatay itong si A42. Does get tagged from that early aggression kanina. Now separating everybody from Vengeance. That also leaves a lot of room, a lot of space para makalaban yung isa't isa dito sa pag-push nila from all sides of the map. It will be Alrets versus A42, tapos Aero laban kay Kara, low 1 HP yung rifler natin. So as a top A player versus itong si Azenil. So all these duels will matter so much. Yoted gas hit the shot and he does kay CJ. Hasn't it? Di pa alam yung position niya pero na-flush na ng kaibigan niya pare. Mukhang kita yung ulo. Alam na ni Yotib. He has to back on safety pero yun nga, Vengeance already inside of that A site. Pakatapos patayin yung curve player, mabilis ang pag-rotate nila all the way to A site.
Yeah, opportunity para sa Vengeance to get this match point before AGT does anything about it, pero it is back to their good old default na gumagana na for the past few rounds. However, medyo minamadali nila to actually, so they still have to be careful about yung presence ni Rio at ni CR7 in that bridge and exit position. Pero ngayon, Vengeance, a whole lot more time to set up para dito sa A side. This is very deep, very early.
Oo nga eh. Definitely something that they could work with this time. AGT just going back to what has been the safe play for them. Top A player sniper, but let's be real, what kind of sniper doesn't go on top A in around 7 out of the 10 rounds that they still have? So for Vengeance, yung play na lang this time around again is that 1-3-1 setup. CA control also present for them, pero I don't think I've seen a lot of Z pushes para sa rotation nila, just usually yung pagpatay nila dun sa mid player and just a bit of a split push to try to get that P site. So Vengeance, lots of options, but mukhang papatayin na lang nila siguro itong si CR7 at saka si Rio.
Ayun nga, Rio will get that opening frag, pero Azenit lumalaban pa nga dito. CJ looking for it. CJ probably will get the Aero, but Aero fully aware of the flank player. Pero yun lang, HP gonna be the way to go para kay Alrets. A42 approaching slowly. Is it gonna be a swing? Alrets wallbanged actually. And makukuha na nga actually Aero dito. It's 8-8, mano e-mano. Need to support. Whoever gets this round, it is gonna get potential match point. We're gonna have to wait and see kung sino makakuha nun. I mean, both sides are really exchanging blows dito, pare.
Oo nga eh, masyado ng risky yung ginagawa ng Vengeance. Sa ilang beses na din nilang pinaprioritize ang curve position natin eh. Nagiging magandang time na yun para sa AGT on the rotation as well despite them killing off Rio. Still gonna be a banger of a performance from the rotations coming from AGT ngayon as they're now going back to trying to control, defend yung bawat sektor ng entrance. Vengeance, medyo konti lang yung mga attempts nila from taking long A and now, isa na to sa mga times na yun. Will be L8, possibly unnoticed as Azenit gets the shot all the way elevated in towards LA pero mukhang fake lang ito para sa kanila. Rotate all the way back in towards mid. Alrets with the shot yet again kay CR7. 5v3, AGT have no idea kung saan manggagaling yung Vengeance now.
Yep. 3 versus 5 AGT. Hanging on for dear life dito sa round natin. But A42 could make all the difference. Dito sa kanilang B-site, nakatutok na harap-harapan. And Alret's gonna be the first one down. Good trade for the rest of the boys dito na Vengeance. Kara gonna try to be a bit aggressive dito sa mga curve players. Aero, very aware na pwedeng may tao. Dito sa may baba, Rio gonna be right behind itong si Aero. Aero slowly creeping into the site, pero yun lang, already spotted through the smoke. I feel like meron na silang rough idea kung nasan si Rio, as it is a 9-8. Vengeance getting match point first, and AGT, they're gonna need to produce some magic dito sa round natin, men.
No, man. Now AGT has an opportunity to still push this papunta sa OT. Still potential, especially sa nagiging set plays nila. Expecting yung mga default positions ng Vengeance, even taking control of the space. Na ngayon ay crossfire pa ka all the way back in towards yung LB natin, pare. See if mahirapan ng Vengeance para makuha yung space doon eh, no? Parang Vengeance now doing the best that they can to gain some info. Yun yung ginawa nila from the previous round. Malaman lang nila na after those 2 pickoffs na nagawa nila, mahanap lang kung sino yung weak side for AGT. They realized it was on the B side since the top A player is still present. And how many times have they supported well in top A player from that bridge position? And also, now it's a quick scope from Alrets. A42 down. Aero has to go back. An opportunity for Vengeance to end this right here, right now is present. Rio can't push on in towards the C position. Mukhang hindi pa siya spotted ng lahat ng mga players
Oh,
from
Rio
that
spotted.
RS position. Look at that 1v1. Rio,
Ah,
1 HP
that's
eventually as it takes it down. Crossfire set up for Aero as well as dito kay CR7. This has to be huge, pare. Kung magpo-push nga yung split push nila dito.
Yun nga, I mean, dapat iniwan na lang nila si Rio dito sa baba ng bridge. Didn't really have to show his position. Ang ganda na ng depensa nila sana dito. Alreds will fire off a shot and is gonna keep itong si Aero posted sa B site. Pero long na pala ang target ng Vengeance. And a lot of players, a lot to think about. Flash is gonna go through para kay Karan. That's gonna blind the top A player. Yotib fully blinded and is gonna be blinded again thanks to that second flash. Pero makuha niya pa rin yung tira kay Azanit. Azanit around the corner. Pero CJ will get Yotib eventually. CR7 known entity dito sa may hagdan. Pero makakapatay pa rin ng isa. Aero, last brother left alive. Pero makakuha pa rin ng isa kay Alreds. Possibilities are endless dito sa 1v2. Aero sprayed through the box and that's a 10-8, a 2-0 para sa Vengeance.
As you predicted, Sneaky, Vengeance taking this smoothly papunta dito sa ating second set. Definitely something na na-expect natin sa kanila considering how well they have been proved with the CJ integrated into the lineup and how well he has been able to actually play off of the riflers that we've had dito for Vengeance. And no, I think 16 plus kills para kay Sua, who honestly, nung pagkapasok niya ulit dito sa ating week K, naramdaman na natin yung impact niya, especially in this port map. And no, some solid pushes coming through from him as a rifler, finding good timings as well when it comes to the rotation coming through from AGT. And man, I mean, for Vengeance, there was doubt seeping in, especially nung bumabawi na yung Arise Gaming team. No? And the mga times na nakakuha ng mga first shots itong si Yotib, yung mga times na nakakabawi pa si Rio from his duels alone, you can definitely see that there was potential for that comeback to happen. But Vengeance, nung na-realize nila na natabla na yung score, gusto na nila tapusin to, men. Natatapos na nga nila ngayon.
Yeah, honestly, that last push, no, dito sa last round natin on port, yung AGT maybe got a bit too excited at the same time. No, you don't expect a nice shot to be hit like that to start things off. Unfortunately lang yung nangyari dun sa mid dito kay Rio. No, if Rio didn't get spotted, you know, may mas different sana yung magiging kalabasan. Considering may information na siya dito kay Azanit, information on another player as well. So, a lot to think about kung kayo yung AGT. But still, yun nga, no, if you're AGT dito, expected to be taking the L today. I mean, you guys did pretty well dito sa port. In all honesty, man, A42 with some good spots. Si Rio doing a nice job as well. Yotib, no, just as consistent as per usual dito sa laruan natin. But up against itong Vengeance, man, it's not gonna be enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, against this team as well, I mean, even though there was some doubt into how they're gonna perform on the recent weeks, there's still a team na kapag nasa magandang form sila ay nakakatakot pa rin kalabanin. No? I believe I had a bit of a story na binigay sa akin ni Buko that Vengeance was one of those teams that were very, very scary nung pagdating sa mga open qualifiers natin. And of course, it is very much shown kung kapag umabot sila sa mga highs sila ay nakakatakot nga silang team kalabanin. No? So, Arise Gaming team, they knew what they were preparing for. And unfortunately, kahit sobrang lapit ng game natin ay hindi talaga naging sapat yung mga gawain ni Yotib kanina. No? So, hopefully, makuha nila yung mga kailangan nilang tutunan dito sa ating VODs at saka sa laro nila against Vengeance. Because honestly, that port map, sayang na sayang. If only hindi na pick up tong si Rio as you mentioned at saka kung naging consistent na sana yung nagiging hold sila on GR, then definitely they could have actually gotten a bit more of a solid game plan against Vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, itong Vengeance, no, they didn't really have the best defense pagdating sa mapa na to, which is a very worrying sign kung kayo yung Vengeance, especially knowing, no, na mahirap maka-come back dito sa second half or at least just collect points in general, no, dito sa second half, kaya medyo nakabawi yung AGT. Pero ayun nga, AGT, it's the same problem as last time. They got too hungry for the win and unfortunately, no, they kind of overplayed their hand and they lost all their chips. So, ayun nga, a lot to think about really para dito sa AGT. Yun nga, positive takeaways. Ang ganda ng laruan nila dito sa port. Had some good counterplays dito sa Black Widow, but just like how I said, felt like they didn't have control that entire time. Pero wala man, it's back to the drawing board for the boys over at AGT as possible learning experience siguro that they learned today na yun nga, Vengeance is really freaking good sa Black Widow.
Oo nga eh, no? Just a map that they're also like very very familiar with. Komportable at dito sa port eh, naipakita nga din na kahit medyo napatagal yung game natin eh, napaayos yung sistema para dito sa Vengeance eh, no? Just showing yung strength nila on that attack or on that BL side. So hopefully that shows din sa susunod natin mga games. And with this 2-0 with the amount of games, the amount of rounds that they've also faced up, talagang they're putting up a good argument for the top 4 spot no? But it's also depends on kung paano magpo-perform ang Cypher Pro team mamaya, since they do have a game up against Matt Jess if I'm not mistaken. So a bit of a tall task ahead of them, but a possible one considering na Matt Jess aren't really the unspeakable or the untouchable force that we usually like them to see, although they're expected still to be top 2. Naipakita ng Sunday Shrooms na posibleng matalo ang Matt Jess, pare.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, matches, they weren't as godly as we expected, no, entering itong tournament natin. Yun nga, granted, they had some really, really good players coming to the lineup, no, with itong si Ninkyu from MJB. Some old names kagaya nga dito ni Rels, pero ayun nga, that Sunday Shrooms game, man, just showing na even Impact does have some very, very good players, very, very underrated players, no, and I feel like itong Sunday Shrooms really do a good job of highlighting yung mga better players natin to see. I mean, you have Kid from Hell, you have J Kim, you have J Bice on the team, pare. It's kind of hard to lose when you have a solid lineup like that. Tapos, sali mo pa yung mga ibang members dito like itong si Ram and itong si Zib or si Zoran, depending on who's gonna play for the day. It's just overall a solid team, no? Yung itong SS natin. So, yan, it's expectations are they're probably the favorites dito sa tournament natin, men. So, yeah, would be nice to see them doing well, pare.
Oh, totoo. And they're already doing well as well. So pagdating dito sa schedule, we kind of mentioned it in the previous weeks that it is getting lighter for them habang tumatagal. Parang it is Sunday Shrooms' month so far, no? So hopefully makip nila yon. Pero sa conversation natin for today's broadcast, no? Yung Matt Jess ulit, no? For top 2, with how they perform against Sunday Shrooms, yun lang siguro yung parang naging exception. Kasi nung naglaban sila on compound, that's honestly the only time na nakita natin silang kaya nilang dumugo. Pero sa iba pang mga naging competitors sila, sa iba pang mga maps na nakita natin sila, very much untouchable yung matches natin, pare, no? You already talked about the talent of the players, but the amount of times as well that we kind of reference on the Shrooms or how flexible their map pool is, yung matches din naman no? Nakakatakot yung Ankara, malakas naman yung compound. I think they're also one of the few teams that also has only one loss sa compound map nila, but all the other times, talagang walang nakatalo sa kanila dito sa compound map natin. Why is that, Sneaky?
Yeah, I think it's just very tough in general, no? To have, if you have players like the riflers that you do have on SS to kind of, play the map of compound in general, pare. Everyone was pretty locked in nung time na yun for SS. And yeah, unfortunately para sa matches, there's slight lack of discipline, no? Is still present dito sa kanila, which is very important, kagaya nga when it comes to the map of etong compound. I mean, similar dito nga sa port map natin, no, which is you're gonna need to control yourself in some of these situations, pare. And if you don't, unfortunately, you are gonna take that L just like itong AGT, pare. Pero yun nga, we're gonna take a look at yung highlights natin from the game. It was a whole lot of AGT, pare, sa simula ng laruan natin on their BL side, and then it all went downhill from there. Pero it was a interesting back and forth at least dito sa second half, pare.
At least hindi na siya as individualistic katulad na nakita natin from Black Widow, no? At least now they're coming in this with more game plans. At least nakakita tayo ng star-studded moments from YouTube na sinasabi natin na kailangan maging consistent. He did so with flying colors, kada naman having a decent performance sa pag-hold na sa top A. Pero yung mga riflers dito sa B-side, yun yung parang naging talim nila nung nasa GR na sila, no? Yun yung sana nagiging secret weapon laban dito sa Vengeance, who honestly have been already dealt with a pretty bad disadvantage, giving away too many rounds even when they started doon sa kanilang GR side. So it's like AGT, nasa kanila lang sana, nasa palad na nila yung parang chance para makuha yung match win na to. Pero at this point, Vengeance had too much momentum, and they also had the game-winning call of just rushing into the site as well. So talagang running away with the win and into a 10-8 win, naipakita nga naman na may potential pa rin sila makaabot sa top 4 natin. That is depending on every other factor as well. So as we take a look at yung set summary natin, 10-8, sobrang lapit, 1.55 para kay Sua. Welcome back sa lineup, pare. Na-miss na namin siya from last week.
Yeah, Vengeance definitely missed this guy. And I feel like, yun nga, no, Suwa, it's very tough to spot yung ginagawa niya na tama, especially dun sa week 1, he didn't have too good of a score, but now we nga, no, Vengeance kind of realizing na, oh, dang, Suma's worth more than expected, no, for the squad. So it's nice na he did perform well on his way back and even possibly notching another set MVP and possibly a match MVP dito sa ating laruan. Pero yun nga, looking at itong AGT, yun nga, once again, Yote, very nice performance. Rio had some very good rounds. Itong si Aero especially, no, nice to see him performing very, very well despite yung direction ng series natin. A42 stepped up, CR7 kind of toned down a bit, pero you know, overall, it was a great team effort para dito sa AGT.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate din kasi kahit dun sa Black Widow, nahalata mo na hindi nag-work yung mga initial plans nila sana. A few misplays from the timing sa kung kailan sila lalapit. You also see a few of that nung nagsimula tayo sa port natin where A42 kind of pushed into the smoke na walang trade-off. But I guess that communication was set in tone nung dumating na sila doon sa second half. So mas naging malinis yung game plan, but unfortunately masyado na siyang late. No? So para sa Vengeance, a good job overall para sa lahat ng players natin. I do have to put a bit more credit kay Azenit, who honestly was the MVP for me doon sa first set natin. I think a lot of the set plays were him spearheading the thing. Pero para sa ating second set, si Suwa na naman ang ating magiging set MVP. Kung kanina si CJ, ngayon si Suwa naman. For some reason, the subs here actually have been getting so many buffs. Ngayon si Suwa naman para sa ating set MVP.
Yeah, and yun nga, I'm glad that he performed very well dito sa series na to, no? I mean, yun nga, he's doing a lot of things right para sa Vengeance, you know, making sure that the entries do get their just trades, and at the same time, you can kind of assign him, no, to be a lot more aggressive para sa kanyang team. He's kind of like the Swiss Army knife for the squad. You know, can't do anything as long as you just point him at the right direction. So, you know, good job to Suwa, man. Glad to see itong Vengeance, you know, performing well enough to at least remind us of what level they're standing in dito sa Impact, pare.
Yeah, and it definitely shows that there are highs and highs para dito sa Vengeance despite the inconsistency. They show their highs now, pero for how long will they keep that up pagtapos ng week natin dito, you know? Because considering then yung magiging schedule nila, I think it's safe to say that they are not gonna be at the best of spots. Si Rhea 7 ang kanilang magiging kalaban next week. Pero for now, let's focus on yung naging performance nila against Arise Gaming Team. No? 10-4 sa Black Widow, 10-8 sa port natin for a combined 20-12. Which honestly, for Arise Gaming Team and how different their performance is now compared to the first few weeks, I'd take this because it means na may improvement, may tinatry silang gawin. But it's also safe to say na medyo kailangan na ng improvement dito sa kung gaano kalita tayo sa week para lang masabi natin na worth it na sana for them to get at least top 5, pare.
Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna be quite the journey pa rin para dito sa Vengeance. I think at this point, hindi na sila pwede matalo if they do want a guaranteed spot dito sa top 4 kasi ayun nga, you're gonna have to go 4-3 and you're gonna have to fight through yung possible tiebreakers as well, who is gonna be, you know, possibly tied in dito sa ating 4-3 matchup. So ayun nga, Vengeance, it's still quite a long road dito sa Impact. I mean, you still have to go through R7 and itong Sunday Shrooms, but still, why not? You know, provide us with a decent surprise dito sa ating Impact. And of course, yun nga, no surprise match MVP is gonna be itong si Suwa. Played very consistently well all throughout yung first 2 maps natin. And back in the fray. That means he's parang hindi nga siya nahirapan. He didn't need any time to adjust back dito sa Vengeance, man.
Hindi lang naglaro ng Crossfire Impact Summer sa isang week tapos nung pagkabalik nagkaroon ng buff bigla si Suwa, you know? Parang na-miss niya maglaro, mag-compete. So it tells you how important this is para sa kanya na makapag-show up dito sa ating series. And yet again, Suwa just shows also kung gaano ka-important sa lineup na nandun siya, pare. So you also can kind of put him in a conversation of underrated players so far sa Impact Summer. As nagagawa niya na maayos yung trabaho niya, pare. Being a good anchor sa lahat ng mga sides kung saan nasa GR siya. And when it comes to also being one of the riflers, he's doing a good job also on being the second player in kapag kailangan gawin ng Vengeance yun. So it is a victory para sa Vengeance overall. And I hope that this is gonna be enough para tumaas yung moral ng Vengeance habang tumatagal yung weeks natin sa Impact Summer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's gonna take quite the journey, no, para makabalik nga dito yung Vengeance. But man, what's the point of just moping about it, no? I mean, might as well just say, hey guys, alam kong 2-3 tayo. We have like two more wins that we need to get against possibly the two of the best teams dito sa tournament natin. Eh, let's just try our best. Kasi at this point, there's no reason to be sad. Kasi nandun na sa harap yung challenge mo, man. Eh. I mean, might as well take it.
Yeah. And they took it, they shall nga naman. So, next week, it will be a harder challenge. But for now, ay magiging masaya ang Vengeance ngayon. No? So, 2-0 sa ating first series of the day. Pero hindi pa tapos ang bakbakan sa Impact Summer. It will be Matt Jess versus Cypher Pro Team. And I'm sure ayaw na ayaw nyo itong mamiss. So, thank you so much nga pala sa mga viewers natin na nakapanood so far sa ating naging page. At kung nag-enjoy kayo sa laban, i-follow at saka i-subscribe lang kayo dito sa ating Crossfire Philippines kung nanonood lang kayo sa Facebook at saka sa YouTube, pare. So, matches versus Cypher Pro Team pakatapos ng break. Ako nga pala si Ramon. Kasama ko si Sneaky Frog. That has been the first series and hopefully sa ating second ay hindi kayo aalis. At yun na nga po, welcome back mga tropa sa Cfs PH Impact Summer 2025. Nasa day 10 na tayo mga tropa at mukhang hindi pa tapos ang bakbakan dito sa stream natin, ang Matches versus Cypher Pro Team. At makakasama nyo kami mga kasos. So nga pala si Ramon, kasama ko si Salvatore. At syempre pare, kamusta ka naman?
Okay naman pre, solid yung nakita natin sa first series, no, pero hopefully mas maging mataas pa yung angat ng yung pag-level ng action dito lamang sa Matches tsaka Cypher Pro Team kasi both teams having a bit of a storyline start dito sa ating PH Impact. Matches, ginulat nila tayo with a different style of play. Itong Cypher Pro Team na unti-unti na nga umaangat sa standings. So mahalagang matchup to actually, no, for Cypher Pro Team para mapatunayan na yung dalawang matches na naipanalo nila is something na pinaghirapan talaga nila. And with a statement win over Matches, mas lalo pa nila mapapalago yung pwesto nila sa paparating na playoffs.
Totoo pare, kasi literal na yung narrative sa buong araw natin ngayon is yung top 4 slot natin na sabihin natin nagsimula yun sa naging performance ng Rhea 7 Aramita kahapon. Dahil doon mukhang napaka-question na kung makahold pa ba nila yung top 4 spot natin considering na ganun kalapit lamang yung naging scoreline ng Cypher Pro Team at mas lalo na din sa 2-0 win ng Vengeance. So kung sino man dito ang makakuha ng napaka-decisive na panalo, yung Vengeance na 2-0 kanina, yung Cypher Pro Team naman may opportunity para mas ipakita yung gilas sila dito pare kasi the top first slot for Rhea 7 Armita is not looking too good for them to keep.
Yeah. Very scary actually, no, for Cypher Pro Team kasi a lot of high expectations of course para kay Matches and to kay Cypher Pro Team. Nandun pa rin talaga masasabi na solid team sila, but are they solid enough para umabot ng top 4, no? So it really is a tough call para masabi ng mga ilan na kaya to ng Cypher Pro Team. But with Matches' form looking pretty good after a very dominating win up against Heroics last time, parang gagamitin nila yun bilang pang-boost lang talaga sa matchup na to.
Yeah, I mean sa tinatagal natin dito sa Impact Summer yung Matches only had one blip lamang sa nilang record nila. It's up against that Sunday Shrooms game. They're still gonna be on top form and now with this map veto, it's definitely gonna be clear talaga para sa Matches no? Kasi buwan na map para sa ating players on Matches. They take it for them and they start on GR as well. Pero considering din yung mga naging panalo at saka yung naging mga performances ng Cypher Pro Team, they're also gonna be happy with that sub-base first map. Ang Black Widow naman para sa Cypher Pro Team, they have a lot of experience coming into this. You can definitely see the same as well for Matches. So pareho natin kupunan, they get the maps that they're very comfortable with at sa compound kung saan yun din yung masabi nating storya no? Everybody getting their comfort maps and hopefully we see kung sino ang mas komportable dito pagdating sa ating series.
Definitely makikita natin yung true potential dito ng Cypher Pro Team after a very dominating win up against Al Sovereign last time na nakita sila sa sub-base. Talagang pinahirapan nila yung team na yun, no? But it was a much more favorable performance from Hexa and not really much about his teammates no? So hopefully ito na yung makikita nating team play mula dito sa Cypher Pro Team kasi nga mahalaga nga yun. Ang daming layers ng offense na pwedeng ibato ng Matches just from Rels and Ninkyu alone. Dalawa pa lang yun. Pero paano pag nagsanib puwersa na ang Cypher Pro Team, especially from standout performances like Inverse and Leos ng mga nakaraan. So hopefully nga makita natin yun sa mapa na yun. Black Widow's going to be really a matchup between confidence, no? It's Rels go up against Inverse, no? Kung sino talaga yung malakas mag-pick off, doon natin makikita saan nga ba manggagaling yung momentum, no? Kung mapapunta ba sa Matches kagad or sa Cypher Pro Team. But what I do know is pagdating ng second half, doon talaga nagliliyab tong dalawang teams na to.
Totoo pare. Nung that second half habang tumatagal nga naman ay nagpapakita na ng kanilang true form ang pareho natin kupunan no? So what if i-predict na natin kung sino yung mananalo dito no? Cypher Pro Team versus Matches. And for me, para ma-start ito, let's play a little safe. 2-1 para sa Matches. I do believe that there's still top 2 dito sa ating magiging serye and sa buong Impact Summer. And with confidence from Yaba also rising to the occasion, I think it's safe to say that Matches definitely has the winning formula. Ikaw ba, Salvatore?
Yeah, I truly agree naman you on that prediction, no. Pero with map scores over Rhea 7 and Sunday Shrooms, feeling ko Cypher Pro Team really is that team. Pero at some occasions lang, hindi ko lang sure kung gaano nga ba sila ka-well prepared dito sa dalawang map picks na meron tayo, especially on a map like Black Widow na hindi naman lumalayo sa lakas ng Matches nga talaga, no. So I'm voting full confidence dito para sa Matches 2-0 to finish this off, putting Cypher Pro Team in a place na para mas makapag-reflect pa nga sila, no, kung ano pa yung kaya nga nilang improve. I believe there's just a matter of a gap between macros talaga kung dun sa isa up against the other one, no? From the snipers all the way to the attackers. Yaba and Leo is going to be one heck of a match. Pero mas napatunayan talaga ni Yaba na mas maaasahan siya sa mga mahihirap na sitwasyon. And of course, hindi natin makakalimutan talaga yung X-Factor dito na si Zach. Yung addition niya dito sa matches, napakalaking bagay nga talaga. And Cypher Pro Team, guys, nasabi ko kanina, kung hindi sila magre-rely sa individual play, gumawa na lang sila ng mga team play para ma-disrupt talaga yung individuality na meron ng matches.
Yep, so it will be a split decision para sa pareho nating casters, para sa broadcast natin, 2-1 for me, 2-0, pero at the end of it, expect natin ang matches sa mananalo dito. Tatagumpay sa serye natin, they all have a lot of the maps that they have so much experience on, pero magsisimula muna tayo sa sub-base kung saan nasabi ko kanina, a lot of reps for both teams natin, yung mga wins ng Cypher Pro Team or thanks to this map in particular, pero for matches, I think they built a lot of their namesake dito sa mapa natin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely no pre. Sub-base is one identity na hindi mo pwede tanggalin talaga sa mga Cebuano X Davao teams no? Kasi nga this is their breeding grounds pre. Dito talaga sila lumaki, dito nila pinatunayan na hindi lang basta-basta mapa ang sub-base. Hindi lang to yung pangkaraniwang Angkara compound tsaka Porta. Itong mapa na to pre, talagang ang daming pasikot-sikot at ang dali talaga makontrol. Pag alam mo talaga yung ginagawa mo sa mapa na to, no? Complication issues lang yung masasabi mong humahad lang sa mga ibang teams no? Pero paano mo nalalaro yung sub-base, paano mo nalalaro yung mga maps like Eagle Eye, pero hindi naman natin nagagawa na maayos dito sa sub-base, no? So if you really want a flexible map no, na parang ikakagulat ng mga teams na mga kalaban mo, no? Kasi usually Black Widow, Angara, dito tayo pre sa sub-base. Magandang usapan to actually, knowing na dalawang teams pa to, very very competitive sa map.
Totoo pare. And as we head on in towards yung site natin, malalaman natin kung ma-hold nga ba ng pangalan ng matches ang mapang to, or will Cypher Pro Team surprise them, especially taking away yung map pick nila. Although it's definitely clear pare that even though we kind of expect matches to win this out, na sa isip natin, sa likod ng utak natin pare, may possibility talaga na baka makalason dito ang Cypher Pro Team. I'm not saying in this map, but throughout this series, there's a possibility na tumagal tayo dito as the game goes on. So matches gonna start on GR. BL naman for Cypher Pro Team, mukhang lalayo sila dito sa may A site kung saan nakaset up na ang matches para sa pagkontrol nila on that wooden door.
Agas kagad push kagad dito sa second mid, wala ngang challenge na kagad sa may shatter. Unang pick off dito mula kagad kay Zach. Kailangan na mag-ingat doon ng Cypher Pro Team actually, no? Masyado atang volatile yung pagpwesto nila doon kagad sa doors nang wala man lang binabatong util o kaya countermeasures kumbaga. Kung gusto nga nilang i-cross tong luwag, sabay-sabayan na nga nila at gulatin na lang nila yung nakapwesto doon. Pero yun nga, isa na namang pick off ang makukuha dito ng matches at maganda yung pwestuhan ng GR so far.
Oo nga just taking advantage of the positions taken up by Cypher Pro Team. Yung space na ginawa kanina ni Hexa, who, if it's because of his push all the way from that wooden doors, matches are really much prepared for it. No? Nakalabas na agad yung mga cards nila. At mga Cypher Pro Team, mukhang kailangan ng bumawi with that flash coming in. But Ninkyu and Yaba, talagang napaka-solido ng defense sila all the way back in towards wooden. Sakto against Leo in that 1 versus 5, pero mukhang imposible yung binabato sa kanya ng mga kakampi niya dito. So with this, matches are gonna have to do a lot para mahanap siya dito. Actually, not too much as they find out kung nasan si Leo, and a first win natin dito sa matches.
Medyo naging flat yung flash entry nga nila doon, no? Imbis na mabulag yung kalaban, si Ephraim pa nga talaga, no? I think that costed them a lot actually, no? Kasi dahil dun sa window of opportunity na nakagalaw dun yung matches, ang bilis kagad, no? Forklift control kagad na meron dito ang Cypher Pro Team at sinasabihan nga nila yung agos ng hangin na binabato ng matches ngayon. So now, a 3v2 quickly like that as Cypher Pro Team makes their way dito lamang sa may machine room. Yaba, medyo malayo pa sa katotohanan para mga pwesto, pero parang gusto niya atang manglasod papuntang warehouse pre. Pero Zach, siya lang dito yung pwede mag-anchor sa DR. So yun, naging successful yung flank doon ni Yaba. Very, very huge here for matches para maging tabla yung laban. So this might just be a sandwich play unless mag-commit sa ibang site ang Cypher Pro Team. Ephraim nangangapa sa map.
Great timing from Yaba, as you mentioned, man. I mean, he's been trying to call upon for some sort of play pagkatapos ng MR push na ginawa ng MJ. So buti na lang at nakaharap ng pabawi. At with this bomb plant, alam na kung saan manggagaling yung Cypher Pro Team. Playing on yung luwag setup as well as yung pag-hold nila from that CR control. Zach and Yaba, the last two players from Matt Jess, kailangan makasimula na maayos, trabahuin ang pag-retake nila. It starts with the nade. Little chip damage papunta kay Inverse. Sumama na agad tong si Yaba. 20 seconds. Pasok na agad. Spotted na agad yung isa mga players on the A site itself. Inverse. Mukhang laro sa gap at mukhang napatay pa nga si Yaba. Zack with the 1-for-1. It's gonna be a 1v1. Pero mukhang wala pang time. Walang time para makuha yung objective. Zack's gonna have to play this around closely as ever. But Ephraim will shut him down. A 1-1. Pakatapos ng napaganda post plant from Cypher Pro Team.
Tsaga lang, force talaga na pumik doon yung GR para talaga makuha nila yung magandang post plant. Awareness doon from Cypher Pro Team na alam nga nila oras yung kaibigan nila doon. Very, very nice setup for Cypher Pro Team. They make it simple, yet Matches continues to innovate. No? Yung sinabayan talaga ng Cypher Pro Team, which is very, very recognizable. No? Hindi sa lahat ng oras gumagana yung ganung bagay, but Cypher Pro Team makes it look so seamless na para talaga wala siyang bahid ng dumi. So in that case, I feel like Matches, kung ano na lang talaga yung makita nila sa harapan, ina-adjust at nag-react na lang sila kagad dito. And what a push here from Cypher Pro Team. Pero grabe nga naman yung atake ngayon ng Matches. Pinabawian nila kagad as apat, yung nakuha nila kagad. And Leo still fighting for his life. Pero patuloy pa rin ang rotate ng Matches para makalakap na impormasyon. Yaba forcing this fight alone. And can Yaba win this? Hindi tumatama yung mga bala niya, pre. Pero Leo, buhay na buhay pa rin with 28 HP pero hindi rin siya tatagal. Zack with the final kill. Nicely done by Matches. Kahit libo-libo pa yung dumating doon from Cypher Pro Team, Matches was able to react accordingly.
Sobrang risky din na naging initial play ng Cypher Pro Team. Masyadong masikip yung pag-push nila from passage and no coverage whatsoever from their entry. Hexa knocked down early, which also meant na madali lang para sa shutter players na patayin din yung iba pang nagpapasok from that passage position. And also because walang nagtatry ng kahit anong lurk all the way from locker, hindi din naman kailangan tumingin ng kahit saan pa si Yaba. So madali lang para sa kanya para makuha ng damage papunta sa Cypher Pro Team na isa-isa lang din bumagsak sa pag-entry back in towards that passage position. So 1-2 Matches still on that defense. You also see that they're trying to hunker down yung naging luwag pressure natin as Jason and Zack, they get 2 picks for themselves. Si Hexa nababagsak lamang papunta kay Ninkyu pero nandito din si Kristan, but still it's traded off by Zack and eventually will get another round win para sa Matches 3-1.
Gamit na gamit talaga yung oras ng Matches no? Yung pag-hold talaga ng site, pumapaldo sila doon sa mga ganong klaseng angulo. No? This is a Matches that does not force anything and same goes for Cypher Pro Team pag nakuha nga nila yung site mismo. No? So tapatan lang talaga ng laban at makikita mo talaga na almost pareho lang yung macro na binabato ng Cypher Pro Team, no? Kahit nga ganito na kalawak, kahit papano yung kalamangan ng laron to, no? Cypher Pro Team nakakross na nga dito lang sa may second mid. Ninkyu, may laso na naman nagaganap. Hindi naman Rakyumin pangalan mo, Ninkyu. And here comes a potential flank in the making. Hexa, nakakaramdam ata na may alikabok sa may bandang gilid. Pre, kailangan mong tanggalin yan sa braso mo. And what a clear over to Leo. And Hexa also gets taken down. Nice play by Ninkyu. At isa na nga lang natitira biglaan sa Cypher Pro Team. Matches with one heck of an adjustment.
What the respect and boundaries na nakita natin dito from Ninkyu on that flank. At kita mo from Hexa that he was hesitating na lumapit doon sa may second mid. So that gave an opportunity for them with the entry, but Ephraim gets a double kill. 1v1 now. An opportunity of a lifetime para kay Ephraim. And that's 1v1 against Zack. So nga lang masyadong masikip yung paglabas niya in towards vents. At nabigyan ng opportunity sa Zack to get a 4-1. Sayang para kay Ephraim.
So, handful of rounds dito para sa laban na to. Na kung saan tapat pa kahit papado, no? But for Matches, after that grueling round na talagang pinakitaan sila ng Cypher Pro Team ng sabayan ng bomba dun lamang sa may forklift, parang tila na-alarma na ang Matches dito na lumaban na lang at lumaban. Kung makikita mo yung kill feed, pumapabor talaga sa kulay asul. Sumisenyas na ang Matches, parang sa kanila na ata itong laron to. What a shot by Zack with a quick scope over dun lang sa lawag. Matches continues to dominate.
Anything na tinatry lutuin ng XPT, sumasabog lang sa mukha nila dahil sa napakagandang defense from Matches. It's either from the response on MR pushes o kaya yung mga retakes. Hindi nga retakes Yung pag-defense nila from that A site was almost flawless to begin with. So it just continues with the fact that they get themselves ng si Cristana and Ninkyu to get a trade. I think that's a good news para sa XPT kasi napakainit din ni Ninkyu habang tumatagal yung laro natin
Kahit lang. Pero bago yun, pre. Shoutout nga pala kay Boss Candy, no? Napanood niya yung dating team ng naka-ebet-ebet niya, no? Shoutout sa'yo, Boss Candy. Ingat na lang dyan sa panonood ng Crossbar Impact. Wait lang, Rels, pupasok na nga. Inverse pumapesto. But here comes a standoff. Pero grabe nga naman yung lason doon ni Jason. What an angle. Na-turn around pa siya na 180 pa ni Hexa, pero hindi kay Rels. Magkakaibang kalaban yung nakalaban doon ni Hexa. Hindi lang sarili niya, no? Purong demonyo kahit saan ka anggulong tumignan. MJ, with one heck of a start dito lamang sa GR side. Hindi mo masisisi pre, no? Ang lakas ng pag-hold ng matches. Kahit anong effort pa ng split ng Cypher Pro Team, Zach! Grabe nga naman talaga. Ultimo langgam na patay mo doon sa anggulong yun, pre. 5v3. Kristan holding down Warehouse pero wala namang tumatama. Ninkyu, gawa sa bakal yung katawan. Inverse getting Yaba. And that right there becomes a 4v2 pagkatapos ng mga kaguluhan na nangyari sa machine room. What a push by matches. Sila na mismo yung nagpo-force ng laban, pre.
No, saan pa nga ba kailangan gawin ng Cypher Pro Team mo? Sa lahat ng kailangan lang sagot talagang nahanap pa ng gagawain ang matches dito as they also push outside of their sights, finding opportunities to hold both second mid at saka yung pag-push nila from MR. Always a dying effort for Cypher Pro Team na makuha ng catch-up as Rels. The shot from the AWM. They continue their onslaught papunta dito sa Cypher Pro Team na hindi makakahanap ng kahit anong space. Inverse tries to back it back though as Ninkyu will get himself the 2-for-0 as Yaba also continues para sa matches so far. A 2 versus 5 na talagang hindi to matapos ang aggression. Hexa finding you kill dito to the smoke. Now it becomes an opportunity for Cypher Pro Team to get the 2 versus 4 pero still numbers advantage for matches. And with this reset, pwede nang makahinga ng malalim ang Cypher Pro Team until Ninkyu also kills off si Hexa.
Okay. Huge plays para dito sa matches na hindi talaga nakakasagot ang Cypher Pro Team. 8-1 half. Ganito daw pakiramdam pala ng iniisa-isa lang ng Cypher Pro Team, no? Al Sovereign, nabawian na kayo ng matches. 8-1 half. Uulit at uulitin ko nga talaga yon for a team that really knows how to play this map. Kakaiba ang mga nakikita natin ngayon with a major adjustment from matches para hindi talaga makapalag ang XPT. Ramdam na ramdam talaga nila yung pagyeneg at pagbago ng environment dito. Ninkyu, what an entry. Libreng-libre nga lang. Wala man lang binayaran na entrance fee. Hexa, kinakalaban yung sarili niyang buhay. Pre, Crystal with a good trade. He gets a double. At patuloy pa rin yung pagtanggal nila ng mga miyembro doon lamang sa may missile. Rels with a late entry. Pero eto na naman si Yaba na 180 pa ni Ephraim. Good turnarounds for so far for Cypher Pro Team. But this is still a winnable situation para kay Matches. Kailangan na nila basahin kung sino nasa woods. Ephraim with another kill. Si Zach na lang yung natitira. And kablamo, patay si Zach. Cypher Pro Team gets the round.
Hinahanap natin siya all throughout the sub-base pero finally Kristan shows himself just knocking down half of the player base dito sa MJ sa pag-entry nila from Luwag. Even though it was a good effort from Ninkyu, naspotan siya agad ng anchors at napakabilis lamang ng response din from Ephraim. No? What a good sandwich and a good play from Cypher Pro Team to finally bounce back after a devastating 6-round streak coming through from matches. But Zach and Kristan, they trade each other off to get a 4 versus 3 this time. Napaka-active ng ginagawa ng Cypher Pro Team, just getting themselves this faster push all the way back in towards matches. As now, they separate each other off para lang magkaroon ng kahit anong opportunity to punish any aggressive pushes from Cypher Pro Team. Pero alam na nila na hindi nila kailangan gumawa ng kahit ano pa. Dapat sila yung trumabaho. Lalo si Yaba, napakalapit lang dito sa may shutter, making his presence known. Ngayon na alam na ni Ephraim to, titinan lang na yung passage. Sama-sama na lang yung matches para bumalik in towards that second mid to see if open na ba yung second mid natin o kaya yung luwag. Because honestly, open yung option para sa kanila. Hexa spotted. Yung ulo muntikan pa nga dumugo dahil dito sa AWM ni Zach. Now he goes back towards yung sikip natin para lang mas madali yung kanya may depensa dito as still Hexa not going to be able to have any sort of chance whatsoever. He has to try to see if he can defend this on his own. Zach hits the shot. An open entry para sa Matt Jess. Kristan tries to join the fight. Flashed on nitong si Yaba. Has to pull out the cult if he wants to kill him off. Pero may flank pa nga all the way from Matt Jess as Ephraim also kills off tong si Rels. Make it a 2v2. Zach still watches the flank. C4 also down. So daming opportunity para makapitalize yung timing for the side of Matt Jess so far. With 45 seconds, they will have their double flank para makuha yung objective.
Kung i-force yun ng Cypher Pro Team, hindi rin mali yun actually, no? Pwede ka nilang i-punish kagad doon si Zach nang hindi kagad makakalapit yung kakampi niya. So, Cypher Pro Team still playing the long run, no? Pinapatagal talaga lang nila. Zach, makakapwesto pa nga. Kailangan tumama to kay Ephraim kung gusto nga nila makuha ulit yung round na to. Pero Cypher Pro Team, nag-iinig ka talaga. Oh, Zach! With a quick switch doon sa Colt, pero hindi yun gagana at uubra kay Inverse, pre. Close round para sa matches but Cypher Pro Team played that immensely well, pre. Ramdam na ramdam mo yung patience nila.
Oo nga eh. From the defense all the way towards A site, tapos yung pag-hold nila back in towards that mid-pressure as well. You can see that Cypher Pro Team are developing the style after multiple rounds na sobrang aggressive na matches. Alam na nila yung timing at yung playstyle. So hopefully, habang tumatagal baka makakuha sila ng napagandang investment. Giving so many rounds to Matt Jess to try to bounce back into this. Jason though, pasok sa second mid. Sinurprise ang control room player. Inverse getting the cult though, but Inverse with the double. That's a no-scope papunta kay Ninkyu. Papasok si X na nang papatayin tong si Rels. Pero in the end, Cypher Pro Team gets a huge defense back in towards A site. And it's all left up to Yaba na napakalayo lang sa B site.
Tamo. Oh, Ephraim, nice. Maganda to actually, no? Maugulat si Yaba dito kung i-clear niya lang si Hexa. May trade na magaganap, sure to. Unless nakaramdam si Yaba na may makakaangat nga ng vents. Pero ang layo ng lalayagin niya, pre, oh. Alam niyang nakadrop pa yung C4 doon lang sa control room. So if ever, pwede niyang ikutin yung kabuuan ng site papunta doon sa may sikip. Onting bagal lang talaga, Yaba. Onting impormasyon lang. Here comes the walk. Walang kaalam-alam ang Cypher Pro Team dito kung saan siya nga manggagaling. Wala ring binubunyag na tunog no? Here comes the flash. Here comes the entry. Yaba! And there goes the trade. What a setup doon. Napaka-imposible kunin nga at abutin yung C4 doon, Ramon. And the Cypher Pro Team reclaims what was initially a game by matches. Unti-unti na nga nila with 3 consecutive.
Hindi na nga yun crossfire pare, parang triangular yung nakita nating crossfire dito. Talagang ang ganda ng setup, walang magiging posibleng possible task at hand. At hindi talaga makuha yung C4 as you get the setup coming through from Matt Jess all the way towards lockers. You get a double kill from Ninkyu, an entry from Zach as well as Kristen tries his best. Pero yun nga lang, mara-rundown lang siya ni Jason who also gets a 4K to cap up set point para sa Matt Jess. A beautiful set map for them so far with this 9-4.
Beautifully done by matches, no? Wala ngang pakomplika doon, purong simple lang. As you can see, they really wanted those fights at yun nga talaga yung ginawa nila. Tumataas yung kumpiyansa ng matches, kaya gawa lang ng gawa talaga ganun. Pero Cypher Pro Team, may kayang ibuga. Grabe naman yung rebat nila dito, no? Kung ganyan kayo kagalit, mas lalo kaming nangangatal, pre. XPT with a statement of around back and forth they go. Sumusuntok pa rin ang XPT.
One smoke and that's all they needed doon sa ating woods pare. And after that, they just pushed out of it, man. No hesitation. And you can also see that they're willing to take the fight back in towards yung MR natin pare, no? So Matt Jess tried to invest everybody towards an aggressive push-up yet again kanina. Pero ang bilis ng counter, ang bilis ng setback. And you can definitely see that Ephraim still willing to take the fight for them. Kasama na itong si Hexa. Actually find themselves around para lang mag-delay yung game natin. So 9-5. Back in towards a slow setup para sa Matt Jess, no? And we kind of hype Matt Jess on how good their sub base is, but this is also the reason why it is also so good. They know, they have a lot of game plans at minsan hindi mo alam kung ano ipapull out nila dito pare.
Yeah nga, and nakakagulat talaga, no? Like, it really is tough for Cypher Pro Team to be at this situation, pero ang dami nga nalang binigay na rounds para lang talaga maramdaman nila kung paano nga ba maglaro ng sub base ang matches, no? A lot of risk factors being thrown out in the wind by XPT. Pero lahat na ng rounds na kailangan na kayurin ng XPT is a must win for them. Good flash, pandelay lang ng onte. Pero patuloy pa rin at magko-commit ang MJ sa pagpasok ng site. Here comes Leo. Pero makakapag-retreat pa nga siya ng kasama si Inverse. Ang gandang double pick noon at iisa pa nga si Hexa. Si Rels makakapasok pa ng missile. Pero inuunti-unti na matches. Ginagapan nga nila masyado daw mataon tong site na to. Pero lalaban kami. Harap-harapan. Mukha sa mukha. Kristan gets the kill. It's a 2v3. Rels with a quick trade. Pero lahat ng gagaling sa luwag rather, no? Ephraim with a head glitch. What a reposition, man. Ang daming bangkay at tumagas na dugo dito lamang sa site. XP 6-9.
Tumama yung timing ng pareho nating kupunan, no? It all came down to if Matt Jess are able to commit doon sa pag-push nila on the A side. They kill off Kristan, who honestly, siya talaga dapat yung MVP dito, no? He tries to slow down the push, but they also see the double flank coming through as well, no? As Rels, he tries an opportunity, the entry back in towards XPT, pero Leo and Ephraim, they stabilize the situation into a 3 versus 5. Back into Suwag yung Matt Jess ngayon, as Leo, back in towards trying to hold down yung ating duwag position natin pare. Hindi niya kailangan mag-peek pero nag-peek pa nga siya kay Jason. Lumalapit na lumalapit. Napatay pa nga tong si Leo. 3 versus 4. That's the only entry kill that they had so far. And with the C4 down as well, walang time para kahit anong bounce back dito unless XPT actually get themselves punished. 3 kills in a blink of an eye. And it's all up to Ephraim na nagpa-flank kanina pa. Pero nahanap pa nga ni Jason. A 10-6 ang Matches kinakapalan ng muka para malaman ng lahat na malakas ang sub-base nila. Set 1 win for them.
Man, what a game actually, no? From 8-1 to 10-6. Ang laki rin ng kinayo dun at ginatong talaga ng Cypher Pro Team para magpang-abot sila dun sa sitwasyon na yun na ultimo, onti na nga lang mahahabol na talaga ng Cypher Pro Team kasi nakakita na tayo ng very consistent na playbook mula sa kanila, no? Yung pag-hold nila ng site, yung pagte-trade nga nila, no? Yung mga high-lows, especially pagdating sa mid-round na kailangan nga nilang pangawakan at panindigan yung pag-bomb drop dito ng Matches. Ramdam mo na Cypher Pro Team reacts accordingly sa mapa talaga, no? Maganda yung pag-adapt nila sa mga sitwasyon na alam nga nila na hindi naman siya gagana sa mga ibang rounds, no? Pero men, Cypher Pro Team with a potential of an overtime game dito lamang sa sub-base, no? Kayang-kaya nga nila bawiin yun dito lamang sa Black Widow and hopefully yung init na nakita natin sa sub-base makita pa natin sa second set. Pero kasi pre, ang init talaga pre, Matches lumiliyab.
Lumiliyab talaga, pre. At kahit akala natin na lumalamig yung panahon hindi talaga nagpapalamig ang Matches no? Just showing really good solid performances, especially nung nag-start sila sa GR, man. Just showing off kung bakit na nakakatakot na baanan yung mapang ito sa kanila. Where it started from second bid pushes from them, good holds as well coming through when they were playing on that shutter position. At saka yung clear-cut communication din nila, I think that's the very true beauty of playing a hybrid sa buwan na setup nga naman, diba? So talagang showing off kung bakit ang lakas na mapa ito para sa kanila is a key detriment para dito sa Cypher Pro Team, no? And a lot of rounds where they tried a 5-man push or sometimes a split push na ginagawa nila, laging may sagot ang Cypher Pro Team other than a couple of rounds from them.
Ramdam mo na kahit papaano, no, Matches, tumaas yung balahibo ng onti lang, no, at medyo sumikip talaga yung inuupuan nga nila kasi nga Matches was throwing caution in the wind sa lahat ng rounds nila na hindi mo ine-expect. Actually, no, they are one of the safest teams na mga kalaban mo and do not force that much unless may confidence naman sila na magbaback up doon, no? But for Cypher Pro Team, I feel like ito rin yung team na nire-respeto nga talaga nila na kayang bumaril pabalik at lalong-lalo na makipag-trade nga talaga. The combo of Inverse and Leo, very, very indestructible nga talaga, no? Kaso nga lang pag nawawala si Leo kasi nga nagiinit, ganun, gusto ring umentry bilang global risk, no? Na nababawasan ng lakas itong Cypher Pro Team. So as a unit talaga, pre, Voltes 5 ang Cypher Pro Team. Pag pinagsama-sama mo nga talaga, mararamdaman mo yung lakas netong team na to. But for Matches, like I said a while ago, yung paglalaro nila para sa sarili nila, no, the individuality, yung macro gameplay na meron sila Zach, sila Rails, especially si si Ninkyu, no. So yeah, definitely deserving win over to Matches, pero that doesn't put them in the comfortable spot, no, na masasabi mo kaya na nga nilang 2-0 to. Men, it was an intensely close game kahit ganyan pa kalaki yung lamang ng score.
Wait, kaya ba namatay si Ephraim kanina? Tanda mo, akala ko kasi nag-DC siya. Nahulog ba siya doon sa luwag ng low HP? Yun nga ata yung nangyari, pare, no? But hindi dahil dun sa nangyaring yun, pwede natin siyang i-ignore, no? Ang ganda naging performance si Ephraim despite the loss. I think it's because of the amount of times na maganda yung timing niya from the lurks at saka kung gaano niya din effectively na-hold yung ating nagiging passive pushes, no? So definitely a solid performance from Ephraim as well as I think from Hexa as well, who needed to kind of improve back into the series at least for the sub-base game. But in the end, despite these improvements, despite good performances from these players, Matches as a unit is just too overwhelming, pare. Akala mo parang kalaban mo yung sabi natin kuya mo kapag ka nagwa 1v1 tapos parang nag-bonding lang kayo pero dudurugin ka lang niya. Parang ganun nangyari, pare.
Yeah, ramdam mo talaga na hindi ganun kadali para sa Cypher Pro Team tong serye to, no? Kailangan talaga nilang humingal kalabaw dito, no? Kasi ang hirap actually, no, from multiple tries ng Cypher Pro Team na makalakap ng isang magandang play talaga. You can definitely see some glimpse of success na kahit papaano gumagana naman siya, no? From rounds like this one, from late lurks ni Ephraim, yung late entries din minsan nila Leo, yung pag-hold din ni Inverse dun sa mga magagandang angulo ng mapa na to, no? It forced a lot of plays dito lamang sa matches. And I can feel like malaking bagay at malaking factor na ngayon. No? Once again, Zach with a blockbuster performance para sa kanyang team. I feel like siya na talaga yung pinaka-consistent dito. No? Yaba with a major fall off sa usual natin nakikita sa kanya, no? But with a very effective headshot to kill percentage. Parang I think that covers it up nicely, no? Kasi nga dun sa laban na yun, si Yaba talaga yung palaging fumofront. But once again, Ephraim with a very, very solid performance. And dahil nga talaga sa init at aggression ng Cypher Pro Team, feeling ko hindi mo talaga makikita sa numero nila na magiging positive to, no? Kasi everyone is scoring negative KDs and yung playstyle lang talaga ng matches pang ganun lang no? Pang disrupt lang talaga ng score.
Totoo, pare. And I think it also kind of points to the fact that Cypher Pro Team, it's one of the most amount of times that we've seen them try to play with confidence, trying to push in a lot of the sites na yung strength na naging matches under GR is yung kung gaano sila ka-effective when it comes to those crossfires as well. Mga times na nagpo-push from yung passage natin, for example, is because there's a lot of info from that Lockers push. There's no reason para tumingin sa kahit saan pa no? That and the fact that they also kind of shut down yung nagiging push ni Hexa from vents. We haven't seen him a couple of times do that dahil sa napaka-early pick-off sa kanya from the first round itself. So mukhang na-condition agad na matches and this puts them at the pedestal in a 10-6 nga naman. So sino nga ba ang MVP natin for today's set? Well, nakita na natin siya. And Mr. Consistency himself now, si Zach on the sniper, showing off why he should be on the poster right now. 1.06 KR, showing that a lot of his sniping kills really has had a lot of benefit para sa matches.
Man, insane actually, no? Like, yun ang masasabi ko kay Zach actually. Like, wala nang iba. Yung showmanship na meron dito si Zach sa larong yun, no? Damang-dama. Not just for matches, but for also sa Cypher Pro Team. Kasi tinik talaga sa lalamunan no? Parang hindi ganun kadali talaga natanggalin sa isang usapan dito si Zach kasi yung effectivity niya bilang isa pang layer ng opensa, yung pagba-backup niya, yung pick-offs doon nakakarende. So hopefully Black Widow is a different story para dito lamang sa Cypher Pro Team kasi may kakayahan sila bumawi dito but for matches, yes, the momentum is still theirs talaga.
Yeah, hindi talaga natin makakalimutan yung elepante sa loob ng kwarto, pare. Matches is still very much in form sa Impact Summer at mukhang mahirapan ang Cypher Pro Team pagpasok natin sa second map natin. Pero who knows? Mali mo malasan sila dito sa ating second map which is gonna be on the map of Black Widow. So if this will be a 2-0 for matches, then there's also prizes there. Pero will Cypher Pro Team rise to the occasion, especially with this race to top 4? Malalaman natin yan mga tropa dahil pupunta muna tayo sa napamandali ang short break lamang. So ako pala si Ramon, kasama ko si Salvatore. Ang Impact Summer ay magbabalik ng gantong kabilis lamang. At tuloy-tuloy ang bakbakan dito sa Cfs PH Impact Summer 2025, ang pangalawang serye ng Broadcast Day of Day 10. Ako pala si Ramon, kasama ko si Salvatore. Ang matches versus Cypher Pro Team ay talaga nga naman mabilis lang din nangyari. Yung second set ba natin, yun din ba ang magiging storya, Salvatore? Kasi talaga nga ng mga matches ay here to play, pare.
Indeed, pre. Kaya nga naman talaga nung una natin nakita yung mga nakapasok sa top 8 ng PH Impact, talagang kuminang yung mata natin kasi matches, okay, very very solid team to pero hindi naman natin alam on paper kung ano nga ba talaga yung meron pa sila. Of course, kilala natin si Reds, pero now grabe yung naging impression dito nila Ninkyu, especially kay Yaba, and plus yung magandang addition dito ni Zac, no? Like him being able to score out at least positive KDs from day 1 up until to this day, no? Kasi parang hindi naman ganun ka-prominent yung ganung klaseng bagay, pero si Zac binebasican niya lang yung mga ganung no? Parang triple double lang siya na parang Westbrook kasi normal para sa kanya, no? So I feel like it is something that matches could boast for, no? Like oo, napadapa nga sila ng Sunday Shoops, pero hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa akin na hanggang doon na lang sila. Pre, grabe yung ginawa nila sa Heroics, tas ngayon pa lang pinapakita na nga nila sa Cypher Pro Team, no, na hindi pa rin kami talaga makikitaan ng kahinaan, and they're here really to play.
Yeah. Tapos lalo nakakatakot tuloy yung sitwasyon para sa Cypher Pro Team, no? Kasi papasok sila sa Black Widow na, oo, sabihin nating map pick nga ng Cypher Pro Team. But at the end of the day, medyo almost perfect, almost flawless nga naman yung naging record dito ng matches so far, no? Safe to say as well that Cypher Pro Team picked this for a reason. This is also one of the maps where meron silang potential na magkaroon ng panalo dahil sa reps na meron sila sa mapang to. So do you think that's enough para matapal yung top 2 natin dito sa Impact, or is this gonna be a quick one para sa matches?
Let's see. I still really don't know kung ano talaga yung magiging kinabukasan nitong matches na to, no? Kasi anytime soon pwede nga silang mapatumba tulad ng ginawa ng Sunday Shroom sa kanila. And for Cypher Pro Team with one heck of a winning streak already, no? Parang medyo nagkaroon ata muna ng demolition yung sarili nga nilang momentum, no? Kasi like Cypher Pro Team for the past 2 games with very very good statement wins up against Al Sovereign and as well as to the one team, no? So I feel like this is a Cypher Pro Team na parang kaya na nila, nararamdaman na nga nila, pero it is still matches. Parang it's not really going to be that easy. And Cypher Pro Team, we can really definitely see their effort talaga, pre.
Yeah, effort sometimes is enough, pero most of the time kailangan din ng grit, kailangan din talaga ng mechanics, and so far yun yung meron ang matches so far, no? Dagdagan na din natin yung creativity, pare, dahil sa sobrang daming berato sa kanilang kahit sinong team, lagi silang may sagot, no? As we head on into yung Black Widow map natin, ang isa mga pinakamalakas na map para sa matches na map pick na ng Cypher Pro Team. They are in a deficit, pero sometimes miracles can happen, pare.
Yeah. Unting dasal lang to. Parang unting pag-asa lang talaga. Pwede pa yan para sa Cypher Pro Team to force set number 3. Ninkyu almost gets another one. Pero buti na nga lang nandun pa si Hexa, no? So once again, with the trade game happening na naman Ramon, MJ and XPT, hindi na pag-iiwanan. So palagi talagang may bawi ang isang team.
Parang yun lang sa mga times din na naging valuable sana yung og pick dito from Ninkyu, no? I like to zoom in all the way back in towards yung CB natin. Would have been a very dangerous loss kung mapatay agad tong si Hexa, which honestly speaking, good thing he was able to bounce back in towards that ES, no? Excuse me nga pala, si Leo yung dapat na mapapatay dito. So good thing na nakapaghanap ng sagot agad ng Cypher Pro Team, as Batjess will have an opening sa LA, where now si Kristen naman yung mismong mata-challenge dito if na-smoke off the Layo short dito for XPT.
And 3. Pero may cross. Wala pa rin pag-iingat dito ang MJ. Parang risky ata to, pero ilalaban nga na naman ulit na ng mukha sa mukha. Zac with a good pick off dito lamang sa may first pillar. Pero Leo and Inverse, paparating na nga rin sila para mas madagdagan pa ng opensa dito ang Cypher Pro Team para makuha nga nila yung site, no? Naku nga naman, pre, bomb drop na nga at magiging 1v1, pero malapit sa kamay ni Yaba yung bomba dito. Pwede niya nga matanim to. Inverse under 42 HP, pero man, this is still an AWM wielding Inverse. At china-challenge to ni Yaba. Man, di ko alam kung sure na magandang gawain yun. But Yaba just needs to play time, pre. Iwasan niya dito yung scopa ni Inverse. And Yaba now playing under. Nakita niya na yung katawan. Pangat na si Inverse dito lamang sa may stairs. And there goes a good position mula kay Yaba. Inverse gets owned. Cypher Pro Team, munti ka na. MJ gets the round.
Daig ng maagap ang matalino. Si Yaba talaga nga namang okay na okay. Yung naging 1v1 niya dito, his presence of mind knowing na kapag ka nasa short siya, kitang-kita niya yung new rotation kung hindi siya dadaan na window pare no. Talagang what a good play, what a good start para kay Yaba who honestly, he was not in his best performance kanina on sub base. Now showing off his true colors ngayon on Black Widow is a good sign for Matt Jess as it is a 1-0 for them so far. Low on HP na gatong si Rels pero okay lang kasi may AWM siya dito. Cypher Pro Team are trying their best para ma-hold lang yung mid natin. A double ES setup. Tapos yung pag-hold ni Leo just shows that they're gonna be prepared for MJ.
Oh, Jason, good spam. Pero makakasama na nga ni Hexa si Inverse para mas malalo pa mapalago ng Cypher Pro Team yung pag-hold nga nila ng site. Good trade for Cypher Pro Team with already 2 deaths para sa matches. Rels, medyo gaagila pa nga ng hangin dito, no? Kasi na-throw off ata sila dun sa ginawa nilang play. A Cypher Pro Team was able to read it off perfectly. Rels now with the lineup para maharangan dito yung Dorby. And here comes the barrage of Feudals na binabato na nga ngayon ng Matches. Good play so far. Magandang mid-round na pinapakita ng Matches. At nababaliktad na nga nila yung sitwasyon. Ramon, Jason, gusto nga i-clear yung window B. Pero, Leo turns it around. Grabe na timing andun si Zach. Medyo masakit din yung pre, ha. Okay, Leo, 6 HP. Kailangan niya unahan dito yung low HP. Oy, nakuha niya si Inverse. Pero si Leo hindi naman kung sino pa yung duguan. Cypher Pro Team nagnakaw sa kalagitnaan ng araw and they get the round.
Sayang, boss. Low on HP, caught out in hand as well. Isang bala lamang sa likod ng bungo ng isang mga players in this 1v2 and with one shot, sana mananalo na dapat yon ng isang mga players natin on matches pare no. So it would have been a solid performance for them to start with pero honestly, I think it's not really a surprise showing that Cypher Pro Team meron din silang talim dito sa mapang ito, They have a lot of reps dito and I've been talking about that time and time again. And that's really important to considering that they're fighting up against one of the best Black Widow teams that we've had so far dito. One of the best teams in the league. They really need a bit more of those reps, a little bit more of that practice. So with them facing off in that 1v1, sayang pre, the mechanics, the difference in reaction coming through for Hexa to actually clutch that out. It made so much of a difference. It's sayang kasi 2-0 na sana yun in the round, but what a really good reaction pakatapos patayin yung mga nag-entry sa site.
Yeah. Actually, maganda na actually yung piniplay doon ng Matches, being able to take down the much more greater HP, that being Inverse, no. Si Leo pa nga talaga yung nakakuha ng timing nun. And yun yung mahalaga dito sa Crossfire, pre, no. Yung talagang makot off guard mo yung kalaban mo to win a surefire 100-0. Kasi hindi na makakabawi yan, tulad ng ginawa talaga doon ni Zach. Pero I just feel like there's more things cooking for both Cypher Pro Team at Matches. So yun yung maganda dito, yung madikitan laban talaga, yung hindi mo mararamdaman na may napag-iiwanan. So very good side takes and as well as defense for both of these teams respectively. So yeah, I'm really liking this matchup talaga, pre.
Oo nga pare. Just delivering on all fronts, showing kung bakit talagang importante ang game na to para sa pareho nating kupunan, mas lalo na para sa Cypher Pro Team as it will be back into the game. 3-2 setup. Possible that Matches are trying to play around yung default positions natin. Cypher Pro Team gonna try to catch up to it as Ephraim will start strong again onto Jason. Rel's gonna get that 1-for-1 trade-off. Ninkyu with another one. Matches full punishment sa lahat ng push ng Cypher Pro Team as Ninkyu will get a double kill as well kay Kristan. Ano yung nangyayari sa Cypher Pro Team? Nagpo-push ng isa-isa at na-shutdown ng Matches agad-agad.
2v2, quickly like that. Ang laki ng fallout na nangyari dito sa dalawang koponan. Grabe naman, pre. Oh my God, purong tinangay lang ng hangin yung mga tao dito sa Cypher Pro Team. After going aggressive, mas malalaran talaga ata yung galit at ngatal ng Matches dito, no? Leo, gustong tumesting, pero look at the chip damage, pre, natanggap dito ni Leo. Can he make it a 1v1? Yes, he will! Leo, what a headshot! And all he needs is to play time. Yaba, nasa palad mo kung makukuha nga ba ng Matches tong round na to. Yaba aggressively picking. Leo taking his time. At umama sa katawan ni Yaba. Cypher Pro Team, what a round once more para sa kanila.
Naku po! Nakakalabas ng dila sa asim ng pangyayari para sa Matt Jess pare. At 2v1, a crossfire setup pero isa-isang nag-peak pare. Sayang kasi it would have been an opportunity for Yaba as well. He was going in and out of that fight. Pero nung mismong lumapit kay Leo, si Leo kumuha ng opportunity pare. What a good performance from him. Pero in this LA setup, mukhang kakaroon ng advantage ang Matt Jess. They kill off tong si Kristan in this 1-for-1 setup. Yaba down for that sacrifice. Pero at this case, they're gonna be happy with letting LA being controlled by Matt Jess because they also have a mid setup happening with Hexa spearheading yung patay dito kay Jason.
Now, Zach fighting for his life. Pero, Rels still gets the kill. I feel like it would have been a corner play para doon sa Cypher Pro Team kung gumamit nga lang sila ng mga tamang bilang ng tao. Pero parang mali ata yung mga pinadala nila doon para doon kay Rels. And good kill na naman para dito kay Zach as parang na-overwhelm na ang Cypher Pro Team sa round na to. At yun nga ang kasagutan doon pre sa katanungan. Matt Jess 2-2 with one heck of a bawi para sa kanila pre.
Bounce back nga naman no? Talagang just separating every force meron ang matches so far and quick punishments from Cypher Pro Team na sana, especially with that peak from Hexa, pero masyado na ato nag-over-aggress, especially with Kristanon, LA. Now he finds himself on ES. Look at the spray from the smoke as well. Look at Yaba taking advantage of the situation. Short already controlled by Matt Jess. At mukhang si Hexa, alam na kung ano yung mangyayari kay Yaba ngayon. Kailangan bumalik pagkatapos ng flash. Yun nga lang, si Yaba, kabalik na kasama ng Matt Jess so far. Look at the spray down and look at Inverse killing off tong si Jason. Lots of damage done. Sobrang low on HP ang parehong players on Matt Jess while Cypher Pro Team are happy to take LA especially with the C4 down nung napatay si Jason.
Okay. Look at the damage already sa buhay ni Yaba at ni Rels. And I think this is a good opportunity para sa Cypher Pro Team na maging aggressive nga talaga to turn things around. Mag-iwan na nga lang sila ng kahit isa to hold off the C4 dito lamang sa may Ter. Pero with matches playing slowly, I feel like they could use their numbers para ma-overwhelm dito ang Cypher Pro Team though. Pero anong mangyayari naman sa matches pagkatapos nito? Tinan mo nga naman yung pagkatao nila dito lang sa may Ter. At si Inverse, tamang tingin lang dun lang sa may train. And I feel like this is now the time for Cypher Pro Team to try and make a move. Knowing na meron naman sila ditong advantage. Zach in Q. Eto na, magkakaroon na ng World War 3 dito lamang pre. Tinan mo naman yung mga pala dito na Cypher Pro Team may matches. Pero matches pa rin yung lumamang doon. Not for long. 1v1. Oh my God, what a fight by XPT and MJ pre. Oh my gulay. Ang lala na nangyari doon pre. What the heck was that? What a warfare doon lamang sa may Ter. 47 HP for Inverse. Si Rels duguan. But he doesn't have his trusty AWM pre. Bulag na bulag si Rels. Pero he can go for one more. Inverse definitely has the more superior position pre. Gamit ang head glitch sa Ter. Cypher Pro Team wins the fight.
A 3K for Inverse and a triple setup for Cypher Pro Team, sacrificing everything for the sniper pero mukhang hindi pa siya tapos pare. Tumatakas ang Matt Jess sana pero si Inverse hindi na binibigyan ng opportunity. One shot to the quickscope and Rels down for the count pare. Cypher Pro Team unlocking their potential sa may LA. Baka si Kristan mukhang gumugusto pa nga dito. Alam nang may gusto pa sang isa pero may opportunity para pangalawa ang kanilang defense.
Good pick. Cypher Pro Team now learning a thing or two, no? Paano nga ba talaga kumilos sa mapa na to? Matches with a bit of a timing play with a lot of rounds already being played out, no? Pero XPT trying to deny off of that advantage, no? Kristan gusto nga lang tumakas at alam na nga ng kabilang kupunan kung nasaan dito ang puwersa ng Cypher Pro Team, especially from Leo na tumatambay lang sa water. Nang dahil dun sa nade na yun, feeling ko pwede nga nilang i-push na tong LA eh.
LA is open and especially for Cypher Pro Team, we're happy to take the first pick. Okay lang sa kanila na magkalayo muna para maayos ang depensa from every side of the map. Hexa's making some pot shots happen dun sa may mid-side, hoping na baka may nag-push, may nag-lurk dito or Matt Jess, but eventually they're just gonna rely on Zach to open up the site that frame down. Hexa spotted pero mukhang si Yaba walang takot na tinatry labanan tong si Hexa from under as Inverse hits the shot kay Yaba. What a beautiful play from Cypher Pro Team trying to gatekeep them from getting the site itself. Mukhang hirap nga ang makapasok na itong si Ninkyu as Zack and Ninkyu, they still fight back but Kristen's inside of the site and even gets a double kill para sa Cypher Pro Team, a 4-2 para sa GR nila pare.
And we're now seeing a good sign here for Cypher Pro Team. Pagdating talaga sa kanilang kumpiyansa, no? After forcing a lot of fights, Cypher Pro Team, parang hindi na nga sila nagbumukang kaya nga nilang depensahan yung site, no? Basta may makita nga silang pagkakataon na maging aggressive, yun talaga yung nagiging sigaw nga nila. Rels, what a push dito sa mid doors! Dahil nga dun sa smoke sa may ES pre, walang makakapag-trade sa kanya. Finally, Hexa puts him down. Pero C4 drops sa sarili nilang RS. Yaba, ang gandang lason dun lang sa may stage. Pero now Ninkyu will now be getting it, pero si Leo sumusunod at bumubuntot sa kanya. Ninkyu, good 180. Doon lamang sa kalaban niya as he turn things around. It's now a 3v2. Mukhang Cypher Pro Team, hindi na nga nila kinakaya dito yung puwersa ng matches and Jason gets the last kill. MJ, sabi ko nga sa'yo pre, pag nagagalit ang MJ, malakas yung adjustment nila.
Oo, tol. Muntikan pa nga yun sana maging masama sa simula nila kasi what if nag-entry nga sila na maayos pero si Leo napatay niya tong si Ninkyu nung kinukuha niya yung bomba no? Magiging awkward sana yun pero buti na lang naharap si Leo, maayos yung entry so everything has been covered para sa Matt Jess para makuha yung third round natin no? So everybody unlocked, 7 kills for Ninkyu, 7 kills as well for Zack as they now start yung push all the way from that house B. Na-control din yung ES. You can see that from Ninkyu's POV. He is supporting tong si Yaba para makuha yung short position natin as XPT are gonna play default.
Now. Oh my. Pre, ito na ata yung pinakatahimik na round na nakita natin no? May iwan si Yaba sa kabilang bandang mapa. Pero lahat ng action dito lamang sa may house B. At ayun na nga, nag-ingay. At nagse-celebrate na ngayon ng matches sa amin na tong site na to. Parotate pa lang ang Cypher Pro Team pero parang late na ata nila dito sa kagagawan ng MJ. Inverse fighting for his life. Pero may susunod pang challenger. Ninkyu will be getting the last kill. At ganun lang kabilis binawi ng matches yung lamang ng XPT.
What the setup pare? Ang lahat ng ginagawa nila, hindi ginagawa na mag-isa pare. Yung dinaraming players doon sa may house B na talagang na-setup pa nga yung entry na malinis. Tapos yung pag-control nila doon sa mid. You add those layers together and you got a flawless push in towards B. Even though Inverse gets one wala pare, isa lang yung nakuha niya doon. And Matt Jess showing off why it is a scary map to deal with kapag Black Widow yung naging map pick ng kalaban nila. Every layered covered. And definitely on BL, they're showing their flexibility even though nag-iisa lang yung mga push nila.
Oh, already. Dorby coverage para dito sa Cypher Pro Team. Nangangarag ata sila na baka maulit na naman yung ginawa ng MJ dito lamang sa may house. Pero hindi pre, tinan mo yung paglilin lang nila. Palabas na nga sila ng BS pre. Pero tatlo naman yung nakatao sa A. Isa na namang gerang makikita natin dito, Ramon. At kailangan handaan dalawang koponan na to. Kristan, jiggle peeking just to get it bit of information pero biglaan na lang sila nag-back off pre. Teka lang, retreat daw sabi ni Commander in General. Matches na pushing it down over to LA. Split play na naman nakikita natin for matches as they go for default. Pero XPT, nakakaramdam na nga dito ng kaguluhan. Will they adjust? Will they send the right amount of players? Zack, huge pick-off kay Kristen. Pero si Efraim makakagawa rin ng play. Nadali si Rels at nadapa siya doon lang sa may B-site. Zack challenging two people at once, pre. Hindi ka immortal. Pinababa na sa lupa ngayon si Zack. And XPT can now go for a 4v3. They now have the man advantage.
Ay nako, nakapasok pa si Ninkyu. So now an opportunity pero si Hexa quickly shuts that down. Ninkyu down and Jason also follows a 1v3 para kay Yaba. At mukhang sisimulan niya na maayos pero with the spray, malapit na siyang mamatay pare.
Uy.
Isang iglap lamang, isang bato ng kahit ano. Mapapatay si Yaba dito pero meron siyang AWM, the perfect weapon para ma-isolate yung dalawa. Ang Cypher Pro Team nagre-rely lamang kay Inverse at kay Efraim. Hawak na nila ang bawat sektor. Ang entrada na pwedeng gamitin ni Yaba pero Efraim, he actually loses the timing. Inverse down, what is he doing? Why is he holding yung long A pare? 15
Pwesto
seconds.
ata, pre. Pwesto ata siya ng
Pwede
terpre. Gusto niya ata matay.
Oh my God!
Tarpag na yun, pre.
Oh my
Ano yung ilalagay mo sa altar para makuha mo yung round na yun? Gusto ata pumwesto ni Efraim sa terpre. Pero si Inverse hindi naman nagtago. Oh my God, Yaba. What the hell was that?
Natakot, pre.
Drawing yung play. Gumana. Pinadala. Gusto ko ito mangyari. Yaba. Oh my God. Oh my.
God. Ang sakit
Ang
ng
sakit
ulo ko
nun,
dun,
XPT.
boss.
Kung meron mang pwedeng kumotong sa inyo, kung ako sa'yo, tumanggap na kayo. Para bumalik yung mga brain cells nyo, pre. Oh my God, XPT. Binitawan nila yung round na yun, Ramon. Bakit ganun?
Oo nga eh. Solid na sana yung defense. Napatay nila yung first entry sa short. Tapos napatay pa nila yung naglo-lurk sa house B. So lahat ng simula nun, maayos. At makukuha na sana nila yung round pagkatapos ng malaman nilang napatay na nila yung C4 player. Pero still, low on HP si Yaba. So medyo decidido na tayo na tapos na sana yung round yun
Oh,
Pero
pre. Sure na yun.
gumawa ng milagro si Idol, pre. AWM, low HP, tapos ibang direction yung tiningnan ng dalawa ng kalaban.
Grabe, pre. Ang lala ng dasal ni Yaba dun. Hindi ko ma-imagine na nagawang batuhin ng XPT yung round na yun, pre. Kasi nakita na nila yung C4, pre. Titignan na lang nila yun. Wala lang ibang pwedeng puntahan si Yaba kasi wala siyang oras, pre. Hindi naman siya pwede tumingin ng LA. Diba? Pero wala, pre. Kailangan na natin mag-move on, pre. Dito na tayo sa second half, Matches now on defense. XPT, gusto ko atang i-challenge tong LA na to. They still have a lot of time para mag-reconcile at pumunta ng kabilang site. Ninkyu holding it down. Pero this is still matches na alam naman natin na anytime soon, pag masyadong tahimik, sila na mismo yung magpupumilit ng play.
Parehong koponan mukhang nag-start with the double setup na shutdown si Inverse early on. So it is gonna be an opportunity for Leo to shine dito with this play. Pero Zach spots out 2, he kills off 1. Hexa down for the count. Tristan has to be the second player, pero Rels also following on his position. Si Efraim! Mukhang napatay pa nga niya yung isa, si Rels. Napasayang ng position dito para sa Matt Jess. Tristan follows with another. A 2v2 pare. Yung C4 nandun pa rin sa may RS. Hindi sila makalabas kasi hindi nila alam kung saan manggagaling to si Jason. So at least an opening for Cypher Pro Team. Yung LA bukas, pero alam ba nila yun pare?
Not sure, pre. Pero ang ganda ng timing dun ni Efraim. Ang gandang crossfire na sana nun. Pero because of that, they denied the 3v2. So there is still a chance for Cypher Pro Team to make this happen. Sinin ko lang mag-isa ng site. Paparating pa lang si Jason. Magiging high-low nga to. Pero napakalayo ng agwat nila. And there goes the kill from Ninkyu. And he gets the double to get the round for Matches.
The Og player. A weird gun, but on the best player possible. Who really was one of the survivors dun sa mid-push natin kanina. And once he had the info, he was at the perfect place to get the high-low setup for them. Hirap na hirap doon sa setup. At ang Cypher Putin kailangan mag-catch up. Zach and Jason though, they start off with 4 beautiful kills for Matt Jess. They exploded to the mid-side. And Inverse mukhang susunod sa mga patay sa Cypher Pro Team. Matt Jess, another masterclass hold dito sa may mid-side.
Teka lang po, malamig na basahan. Ilagay nyo po sa braso ng MJ kasi ang init ng mga braso nila, pre. Puro laban na lang ang nakikita natin sa kanila. Si Rels, gusto na naman gumawa ng play dito lamang sa may cut, pre. Pero hindi na gumagana yon. 2 rounds, pwede na. Pero pag pangatlo, niloloko mo na ang XPT, pre. And now, Zach, holding it down dito lamang sa may kabaong. Tama nga ba ang read ng MJ? Hexa, gusto atang lasunin, pre. Pero masyadong malakas yung pwersa ng MJ dito lamang sa may mid tsaka stage. Zach, can they hold it down? Naku, Zach, hindi niya makukuha yung timing pero napakaraming tao na dito labang sa may store. And Zach will be getting taken down. Nice trade. Ninkyu getting Efraim. Hinuhold niya lang yung Dorby dito pero wala namang sapat na kalaman ng matches. Nananalo ang trading dito mula sa XPT. Good call para kay Hexa na pikan yun. Para at least maging impormasyon pa yun kahit papaano, hindi ko alam, Yaba. Magagawa mo na naman ba ang pinaka-imposible sa mga imposible pa? Yaba, with a singular man para sa Matches, hindi nagagana yung anting-anting mo, kaibigan. Matches, masyado atang lumaki yung ulo nila doon sa round na yun na XPT with a good capitalization.
Overconfidence in a lot of these situations, pare. Si Zach na nasa kabaong na masyado na naging wide pick ang ginawa niya pagkatapos patayin yung isa. Naging easy entry para kay Hexa na pick off yung tatlo at dahil doon, yung iba pang nagro-rotate nasa labas pa ng site. So talagang walang nagawa ang Matt Jess pero still, lots of damage done onto the mid side. Ninkyu tries to get spotted pero Hexa trying to get the 1-for-1 trade off. Jason will capitalize on his positioning. 2v4 na pare. Kayod kalabaw ang gawain ng lahat nating mga players sa server. At dito, ang matches naman ang magiging advantageous with the 4 versus 2.
Prime and inverse. Kailangan nila kahit papano, maging makasarili na lang eh. Kasi if Inverse and Ephraim can get their own pickoffs, they could easily force a 2v2. Or better yet, 2v1 eh, no? Depende na lang kung ano magiging kalagayan ng kanilang HP dito, pre. They just need to get the timing right. And of course, the angles, pre. Inverse. Not sure if this is the right call. Nandoon si Jason with a picture-perfect pre-aim. But there goes Rels as well. Para dun sa magandang timing at trade pa nga. Matches. Angat ulit na naman ng tatlo ang kalamangan. Napapalapit na nga sila sa katapusan.
Para siyang, yung matches para naglalaro na lahat sila kambal, pre. Alam nilang kung mamamatay yung isa, dapat mabilisan lang din yung communication. Ang bilis ng response para sa kanila. Gumagawa ng mga galaw na hindi nag-iisa. Yun nga lang, isama-sama na mamatay itong si Yaba at si Jason daw. They at least get one itong si Inverse, Leo low on HP. So it's not all bad news para sa Matches. They start off with a bit of damage done, but still, numbers advantage given. LA also a possible cost para sa XPT, but now that they realize the situation, pwede na lang i-reset to, play around that slow time, at pwede din i-try to punish yung MJ because open na nga yung ibang mga sektor na mapa natin.
Uy, grabe naman. Pag nakuha mo si Leo dito, this is going to be really huge though. A lot of control actually from Cypher Pro Team kahit hindi nga sila masyado nagpaparamdam. Pero possible kasi pag nag-B-site hit tong XPT, naku, nagparamdam ka, Leo. Pwede nang tumingin ng flank ngayon ng matches. Pero pa-rotate na sila. Leo is a very important player dito, pre, para makomplete nga nila yung panlalason. Nintyu, magandang pagbabantay. Tatlo na ang nakapwesto. Papasok na nga ng House B. Kristan, here comes the entry. At isang magandang haraw para lamang sa door B. Hindi makakapag-spam down dito si Nintyu. And Rels, kinakalaban na nga dito si Hexa as he gets the double. Pero dalawa ang duguan para sa Cypher Pro Team with Zack still having a full load of HP. Leo, what a lurk! Maganda! Patience lang ang investment doon ni Leo, pre. Yung pag-hold niya ng Ter, pumaldo. 6-8 XPT. Ginagapang na naman yung laro.
Back again in towards the situation where Cypher Pro Team, they're down but they're not out just yet, pare. Habang tumatagal, naging confident na yung mga players natin. Then you can also see that they're contending against Matches in that LA setup. Expected na from the smoke na kinukuha nila yung long ter, pare. And once na punish nila yung pag-push ng dalawang riflers on Matches, slowly they realize that B-side really was an open call for them, especially leaving Leo was a really good call para sa kanila para lang ma-shutdown niya yung rotation ni Zack kanina. And now we find ourselves in a 6-8 for Cypher Pro Team. They can still catch up back into this double water setup na ginagawa ng Matches ngayon habang ang mid ay pwedeng kunin probably ni Hexa kung gusto niya i-lason yung ES natin, pare, no? So ang daming options.
Yeah.
But Matches have good setups all across the map.
Let's see if the position is correct para sa Cypher Pro Team. Lahat papadala na nga nila dito sa ES, no? Pero baka isa na naman tong Cypher Pro Team fake. At imbis na umatake sila dito lamang sa may short, baka gulatin na lang nila dito yung mid doors. Okay, masyado atang marami, pre, yung pwedeng paulanan dito ng MJ. And Zack gets a good pick off doon lamang sa LA. Wala na yung split, hindi nagagana to. And Jason sets it up. Maraming namamatay para sa Cypher Pro Team. Hindi tama yung timing nila doon. Matches set point off of the back of Jason's double. Hindi talaga, pre. Cypher Pro Team, what happened?
Grabe, from the floor in towards their faces. Matalim ang AK at si Nintyu. Laki ng confidence, pare. Mukhang gusto na tapusin na Matches totol. Two in a blink of an eye. Nintyu and Yaba, they keep pressuring yung Cypher Pro Team. At mukhang si Krista na lang ang natitira dito. Nakadisconnect ba yung isa sa mga players natin? Alam nilang tapos na, but still, Kristan lumalaban pa rin. At habang nagiging 1 versus 3 dito, mukhang mahuhuli pa nga itong si Kristan. Low on HP, spotted on B. May flank pa nga at mukhang hindi kailangan yun na Matches. A 10-6, a 2-0, shutting down Cypher Pro Team and solidifying a top 2 slot dito sa Impact Summer.
I'm telling you, pre, this is a matches that is very exciting to watch. Grabe nga naman yung pag-improve nila dito sa Black Widow from the fights that they are taking. And not just that, but the team play as well. yung pagre-read off nila dun sa mga split at default na ginagawa ng Cypher Pro Team, dito mo lamang talaga makikita sa direction na kung saan ang kulay ay red at orange pre. Matches with one heck of a performance sa Black Widow na parang kinakagulat ng iba actually, pero para sa matches hindi na bago para manalo kami sa mapang to no? I guess you could say Cypher Pro Team tried, pero man, you just tried. Matches succeeded naman, yun ang pinagkaiba nilang dalawa. Pero men, just to rub it in, Cypher Pro Team, wala na yung win streak nyo. Pero men, there is still a chance talaga para makabawi pa kayo sa mga susunod yung panlaban. Matagal nyo pang makikita ang PH Impact pre. But for matches, men, uuwi na sila ng yung ngiti nila habot hanggang kabilang tenga.
Totoo pare. Okay na sa kanila yung kung paano naging performance ng matches no? More than okay actually. With this 2-0 win as well, there's a conversation to be had if kung madadali ang laba yung top 3 natin na makahabol dun sa top 2. Pero honestly, with them putting up a performance like this, there is no doubt talaga na in playoffs, they will have a smoother transition. Matches really showing off kung bakit malakas nga yung mga star players nga nila dito. No? Good shots coming through from Zach. Si Ninkyu na paulit-ulit nang nagpupush. A lot of rounds as well. Nakita mo siya on the AUG. And it has made a lot of noise dito pare no? Even from that high-low setup na ginawa nila from that short position, talagang matalim yung naging AUG niya dito pare. And not to mention si Jason pare.
Yeah.
Sa mga setup na ginagawa ng mga matches players natin, si Jason yung mismong laging sneaky, si Jason yung mismong laging matalim. At talaga nga namang marirely mo ang mga players on matches to catch up into this ng 2-0 against Cypher Pro Team.
Solid yung forme, no? Talagang straight yung katawan, diretso ang tingin at alam nga nila kung sino yung mga kalaban no? Tamang-tama lang yung pagkakatimpla ng matches sa kanilang playbook and especially sa mentality nila heading into this matchup, no? Full on confidence, no? Akala ata ng Cypher Pro Team makakasabay sila dun sa subbase. Well, yes, pero hindi naman sila na nakasabay dun sa mga dominating rounds na meron ng matches. So it's not really easy for Cypher Pro Team to read everything dito lamang sa matches, no? But for them to be able to get a good amount of rounds dito lang sa Black Widow, parang okay, I think we're now seeing some potential for XPT to be excellent, no? Pero talaga matches pa rin talaga with their veteran experience, with a very dominating game once again for Zach and as well as Ninkyu. Kitang-kita mo doon talaga pa sa round na yon, yung panghuling round para talaga mapako na yung scoreline dito ng XPT. Men, Ninkyu aggressively, walang kausok-usok yung Balco at Sniper pre. Talagang rekta na sa mga pagbumuka nila, lalong-lalo na yung pagkuha nila doon ng mga katawan sa water pre. Yeah, matches with a very excellent outing dito lamang sa araw na to.
It gives you also a scope into matches as an organization as well no? For the longest time, alam na natin na yung ilang mga malalakas sa players na ngayon na nasa Impact, na ngayon na nasa Masters as well, yung duo na nasa I believe Team Secret right now ay galing din sa matches no? It tells you the quality of this organization developing crossfire talent in the Philippines continuously, and it just keeps on growing no? Yung talagang matches system where from their junior team na ngayon ay nasa Impact na talagang nagpapakitang gilas nga naman tong si Ninkyu pare no? Just showing off kung bakit nag-work yung system for their organization and definitely bringing themselves up to the pedestal. There's a possibility na baka maging threat sila all the way back in towards playoffs, and it is shown here on Cypher Pro Team with a 2-0. Pero honestly pare, just to open up the conversation, parang not too bad of a performance nga naman all things considered for Cypher Pro Team, di ba?
Yeah, not really bad actually, no? Parang nakita natin na this is not just a tournament na kasali ang Cypher Pro Team. Ito ang tournament na nakakasabay at natatakot yung mga ibang team sa XPT, no? Winning against Al Sovereign and Vengeance, no? Being able to dish a lot of damage sa kanilang mentality at sa gulang nga nila, no? And because of that, tinan mo, nasaan na yung pwesto ng Vengeance at lalong-lalo na ang Al Sovereign pre. So there is a lot of damage being done here by Cypher Pro Team bilang isang indirect effect sa tournament na to, because a lot of people are now noticing the potential of Leo and Inverse. Pag pinagsasama mo talaga sila sa isang site, especially with the likes of Hexa, no? We are seeing a full-blown potential para dito sa taong to, no? Kasi Hexa can play, this man can aim, and as well this man can really surprise you, no? So yeah, definitely talagang maganda yung pinapakita ng Cypher Pro Team, kaya sana makita pa natin sila ng mas matagal sa tournament na to, no? So let's take a look at the set summary naman, Ramon, no? At nangingibabaw na naman ata sa standings ngayon is none other than Zach with his positive KD once again, pero Ninkyu with a 1.9. That is one heck of a performance para sa kanya. Napakasakit.
Considering pare na siya din yung parang laging G na G na lumaban sa frontline eh. This KD for me is very much surprising. It's not surprising though na medyo positive nga naman tong si Jason who is Mr. Consistency himself para sa matches. A lot of times you don't really expect him to be entering pero now you can kind of see him be comfortable sa lahat ng position na binigay sa kanya on GR as well where you can rely on him to get really good frags coming through from this guy. Yaba also kind of improved into this. We kind of talked about him being under the radar nung nasa sub-base tayo kanina but he needed time and for him to actually come back into the series na maayos pa yung kanyang naging score talagang Yaba and the rest of the squad from matches can rely on him para talagang ma-set up yung mismong team para makapanalo sila dito sa series against Cyber Pro Team.
Maganda talaga yung contribution dito ni Ninkyu, no? Ramdam mo talaga. Yaba after that, kind of a lackluster performance dun sa sub-base. Malaki yung binawi niya dun actually, no? From the multi-frags that we are getting, from the headshots that he's hitting talaga, no? So, it definitely feels like a matches game talaga. Yun talaga yung nagpainit talaga sa araw na to, no? Yung 1v2 ni Yaba, no? Ninkyu, congratulations, ikaw ang ating set MVP para sa mapa na to. No, well-deserved nga naman talaga. 1.9 KD is something na pwede mo talagang ikatuwa. Habang mahaba pa tong araw na to, Ninkyu, sa'yo mag-celebrate ka na pre. Kasi solid nga naman talaga ipinakita niya, no pre. So yeah, Yaba once again showing that he really is a good addition dito lamang sa may matches, no. And the development of the players na nire-recruit dito ni A7J from Va, from Yaba, and now CBN pre. Parang talaga nagpapainit ng development kayo ng mga Cebuano and you can definitely feel it dito pa lamang sa direksyon ng matches. 10-6, replay tayo sa sub-base at ganoon din naman tayo sa Black Widow.
Ano, pareho 10-6 para sa pareho nating naging sets no. I would have expected honestly for Cyber Pro Team to put up a bit more of a fight. We did say it wasn't that bad of a performance pero we kind of expected a little bit more out of this team even against matches where Cyber Pro Team is actually a team that has the highest of highs especially with the caliber of players that they've had. Kristan who's really good on these duels tapos si Hexa na kapag nakaharap siya ng mga butas sa kalaban niya talagang magaling siya mag-punish. This game in particular talagang na-counter sila agad with good defenses coming through from matches on that sub-base map and on Black Widow where their BL really shined through pare. There was no doubt about that matches in their performance right now. You even said it yourself, 2-0 for them and 2-0 it is para sa iyo Nostra Salvatore.
Yeah, and definitely full-blown performance na naman dito ang makikita natin from matches early on, no? And habang tumatagal talaga, I feel like matches na nakakaramdam na nga sila, no, that this tournament is not really going to be easy. Kaya ngayon, tinataasan na lang nila yung level ng performance nila, no? Once again, Ninkyu, ikaw nga naman ang ating match MVP.
Right.
And the 3-week run na meron dito si Ninkyu, despite being taken down by Sunday Shrooms, parang generational run yung nakikita natin talaga sa kanya, no? So definitely something to look forward to, no? At kailangan mo talagang obserbahan at panoorin tong si Ninkyu kung gusto mo talaga matuto kung ano nga ba talagang karapat-dapat na qualities ang isang pro player ng Crossfire, no? Si Ninkyu bears that standard. He can definitely play and as well as assist your teammates, no? So ang dami niya nang kino-contribute sa mga kakampi niya. Marami pa siyang natutulungan ng mga tao dito, no? Para masabing, uy, ganito pala maglaro ang isang solidong Crossfire player. And Ninkyu, parang he can definitely be one day become a standard dito lamang sa PH Impact.
Yep, a bright future ahead of them. And now for Matt Jess, they have been inevitable all throughout the Impact Summer. So victory from them, congratulations para sa kanila. And dahil dito sa panalo ng Matt Jess, it is the first time sa Impact Summer 2025 na naka 2-0 ang lahat ng games natin para sa mismong week natin, no, Salvatore. So talagang decisive all throughout. And I think it's safe to say na ito yung parang pinaka maikling week natin so far sa Impact Summer. No? Am I correct?
Feeling ko nga, no, ito na ata yung pinaka malinis, masasabi ko, no? Kasi nga purong simple lang yung mga nakikita natin ng mga games, but it was definitely hard-hitting. It was very, very entertaining to say the least, no? Especially yung mga action na nakita namin kahapon, no? Yeah, I feel like this is now a PH Impact na habang tumatagal nga, no, mas lalo tayong napapasarap sa pagnanood, and especially, no, yung value na meron yung mga laban dito is syempre mas tumataas din yung kanilang kalidad. So di na ako makapag-antay, no, pre, ilang linggo na nga lang magsisimula na ang ating playoffs at ramdam mo na pumipila na kagad yung ating top 4.
Oo nga nakakapag-shape up na kung titingnan natin yung standings in just a short while pare, pero that just gives a bit more of a question kung saan na naka-place ang Cypher Pro Team. Kasi na-set up na yung narrative for today kung saan nga ba yung magiging place nila dito since the performance from Rhea 7 Aramita in their game yesterday against Heroics kind of put them in a very bad spot. It was a big question kung makakahabol nga ba ang Vengeance at saka ang Cypher Pro Team, with Vengeance actually getting a very solid win 2-0 kanina. It's possible for them to actually catch up, pero before the broadcast, ang laki nga ng naging deficit sa kanila. So that is a little too early to tell kung decisive nga ba sila makuha dun sa top 5 spot nila. Whereas itong Cypher Pro Team, medyo naging close pa nga yung naging performance on that second game. And with this 2-0, it's also gonna be a big question kung gaano nga ba kalaki na yung gap between Vengeance and Cypher Pro Team in their head-to-head as well. So how will Rhea 7 Aramita now improve into the weeks? Kasi looking at the schedule then, Vengeance, Rhea 7, tapos yung kalaban naman nila sa last week is yung Matjes as well. So ikaw ba, Salvatore, may thoughts ka ba sa mayiging slot ng Rhea 7 habang tumatagal yung weeks natin?
Depende pre, no? Kasi hindi ko rin masasabi kung ano nga ba talaga yung magiging forma ni Rhea 7. Pero they are still a solid team, no doubt about it. Nandun pa rin naman talaga yung impression nila na parang mahirap kasi nga just because of the roster na malakas yung sigaw at yung tariba talaga na meron sila Jeff Rock, sila JCD, no. So I feel like that alone already makes enough, no, kung sakaling man umabot sila ng top 4 dito kasi malakas yung galit nila sa sarili nila last year, no, after failing to secure the top 4, no, only going below as number 5. Men, ngayon parang nakikita na natin na Rhea 7 can actually really do it once more dito lamang sa Impact. And with that, parang mas lalo pang uminit yung competition dito, with teams like Sunday Shrooms and as well as Matches. So Rhea 7, kaya nga ba nilang panagutan yung position nila dito? I think so, pre. Basta habang tumatagal pre mag-ensayo at palaganapin pala nila yung domination nila.
Totoo pare. I think Rhea 7 is still a very strong team despite yung mga setbacks na meron sa kanila. And despite the 0-2 loss na nakuha nila from Heroics yesterday, which honestly, nagulat nga din ako no? Ang lakas ni Ate Nicole maglaro para sa Heroics ng time na yun, no? Just proving that anybody can be a contender whether you're experienced or not, no? Yung presence nga naman ni CJ kanina also proved that experience is not a factor to actually look out for. It's mechanics, it's decisiveness, at saka yung kung gaano ka okay ka in a team environment, no? So hopefully, mahanap yon ng mga teams natin katulad ng Al Sovereign at saka ng Arise Gaming Team who are also at top 7 at saka top 8 if I remember correctly. So hopefully, yung pareho natin kupunan na yun, makahanap ng time para makababawi dito. Pero considering na we're about, I guess, 2 weeks in na lang at makakapag-playoffs na tayo, I think medyo late na para sa ating top 7 at top 8 para makabawi. It's the race for top 6 now para makareach sila sa playoffs.
Yeah. Hopefully nga, no, na lahat na makikita natin mga teams bigla na lang magkakaroon ng standout performances, no, next week to get a glimpse para naman mapahapyawan tayo, no, sa playoffs kasi yun yung pinaka-inaabangan talaga natin, no, habang tumatagal yung pagtulog natin sa mga araw, napapalapit na nga tayo sa ating pagdiwang ng Pasko sa PH Impact, quote-unquote playoffs. Yun yung Pasko natin kasi inaantay natin yung ganun, no, pre, and definitely worth the wait.
Best of
the
5
moment
pa?
that we step. Oh, pre, best of 5 mga talaga. So marami pa kayong mga makikitang laban dito, no. So possible na makakita ka ng 5 games, 4 games, no. So sa mga nag-aabang talaga diyan sa mga sarili nilang mga manok, no. So yeah, definitely subaybayan niyo pa ang PH Impact, no.
Oo, di lang sa Impact pare, no? Mahaba yung schedule natin all throughout the week. Huwag natin kalimutan yung preview show at saka PH Masters sa Saturday at Sunday, no? Quick plug lang tayo para sa ating magiging schedule. Tapos na yung Impact for the whole week na ngayon, pero meron pa naman next week. Siyempre, hinihintay lang naman natin yung standings natin. So of course, it's a good time para makapag-catch up sa mga kwentuhan natin, no? So we kind of talked about yung placement siguro na Rhea 7, yung top 7 at saka yung top 8 teams natin. What about yung ibang teams na hindi pa natin napapag-usapan, no? Yung Heroics, for example, does the win against Rhea 7 Aranmita put them in a good spot or is this a fluke for them, pare? What do you think since ikaw yung nag-cast?
Yeah. Parang it's not really a nothing na pwede kong masagot no? Kasi very very confusing na ngayon yung nagiging kalagayan ng ng top 6 teams natin no? Kasi anytime soon pwedeng bumaba si Heroics, Syria 7 yung pinaka nakakatakot talaga na mga, and even Cypher Pro Team na unti-unti na umaangat dito sa ating standings no? So yeah, I feel like there's much more stakes habang tumatagal talaga tong serye to no? Kasi you can definitely see some slight adjustments from the team that I really mentioned no? Baka malay mo Arise and All Sovereign no? Bigla na lang talaga umangat at mag-bloom dun sa standings, but I feel like the top 4 really is the top 3, hindi pala top 4, top 3 yung pinaka-untouchable natin dito no? I feel like Cypher Pro Team, All Sovereign and Arise Gaming Team, sila na lang talaga yung maglalaban-laban dito. Heroics and Ria 7, yun yung mas magiging madugong laban no? Pag-secure ng top 4 na yun. So a lot of mismatch dito lamang sa ating team standings, Ramon.
Dami din nating pwedeng ma-look forward to pag dumating nga tayo sa next 2 weeks natin. I'm looking at the schedule overall actually, and na-excite ako sa ilang mga games natin dito, pero hindi tayo pwede mag-spoil. Punta muna tayo sa standings para malaman kung saan na yung mga power rankings ng lahat ng kupunan natin dito sa PH Impact. Sunday Shroom still on top, not just solidifying their slot na dahil dito, Heroics on 3, Race 7 still on top 4. So what is it that's something na na-notice mo, pare?
Okay, so dahil nga sa pagkapanalo ng Heroics yesterday, parang mas napaangat na ng Vengeance yung position nila nga dito no. So and to add more insult to injury no, parang Sunday Shrooms is still that team na masasabi nga natin na una sila yung pinakamalapit talaga sa Ria 7 no. But now parang Ria 7 nakakaramdam na nga tayo ng major regression sa kanilang pwesto dito lamang sa may standings no. Heroics with a very definitive 2 games kahapon laban sa R7, and it opened up Cypher Pro Team and Vengeance na sila na lang yung maglalaban dito sa number 5 spot. Pero because of that pag natalo ng isa pa ang Ria 7 tas nanalo ang either Vengeance or Cypher Pro Team, overtake yan sa taas alanganin na si R7 sa pwesto nila.
Nakakatakot para sa Cebuano squad natin no. So hopefully makita to ng Rhea 7 Ermita at sana'y magising nga sila sa katotohanan na baka ma-overtake nga sila ng kahit sino dito sa ating top 5, top 6 standing natin. And don't underestimate as well yung dalawa nating teams on the bottom standings talaga. They can still deal damage as long as they take a map. Malaki yung magiging epekto para sa race in towards the top 4, as we're also gonna take a look at yung susunod nating magiging standing as well. Yung schedule for next week's matches, it will be Sunday Shrooms versus Arise Gaming Team. Ang top 1 laban sa top 7 natin. There's an opportunity for Arise Gaming Team to get a lot more damage done against the best team in Impact Summer. Pero I guess it is safe to say that Sunday Shrooms definitely are confident coming into this, while yung match na naman natin is a Sovereign versus Matches, a do or die para sa Sovereign, pero Matches, well, coming into this very much with a chip on their shoulder.
Grabe no, Sunday Shrooms, na death note na nila yung mga ibang teams no. Tapos yung mga sumunod naman nilang laban, All Sovereign, tapos Arise Gaming Team pa no. So grabe naman yung alay dito sa mga laro ng Sunday Shrooms recently. And for All Sovereign and Matches, that's still very reminiscent of what we saw kanina sa Matches and Cypher Pro Team. And hopefully All Sovereign will now get their grit together no, kasi nga we might see ME play again, or even France now finally being able to be integrated into that roster no. So yeah, a lot of really exciting games na pwede nga natin makita no. And the playoff teams dito lamang sa top 1 to 4, we're now seeing them be able to, I feel like, prepare for their momentum heading into that sacred event.
Oo nga pare. And with a lot of time onto their belt as well, there's a lot of chance to improve. So sana yung mga Impact teams ay mapapanood to at mapag-VOD review dahil malaki ang preparasyon habang papunta pa lang tayo sa ating playoffs ng Impact Summer. So habang ganun gusto ko lang mai-remind yung mga tao dito na ang laki ng suporta ninyo sa pagnonood ng stream namin, sa pag-follow, sa pag-subscribe, sa pag-comment ninyo, ay talaga nga namang continuously nag-grow ang Crossfire community, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas pero sa buong mundo as well. So thank you so much sa inyo. Thank you so much to Smilegate for giving us an opportunity para maibigay yung kwento ng lahat ng mga players dito sa lobby natin. At special shoutout as well sa schedule na meron tayo for this week as well. So yung preview show tomorrow na masisimulan on Friday, si Vil mag-host na naman at sasama-sama yung mga CFS talents as well as a special guest coming into this podcast as well. Huwag natin kalimutan ng PH Masters para malaman kung sino ang mahahatid natin sa EWC, ang isang mga pinakamalaking tournaments dito from Crossfire for the summer as well. So Salvatore, before natin i-closing show, any final thoughts bago tayo mag-end ng week ng day 10 natin?
Thank you so much guys sa pagsuporta dito naman sa PH Impact sa previous show at sa Masters. No? Dahil nga sa inyo, mas lalo pang pinapabuti namin yung quality ng mga broadcast na nakikita nyo. No? Follow nyo nga po si Salvatore sa kanyang page, no? Salvatore Cas. At make sure na tuloy nyo pa rin ang pagsuporta dito lamang sa Crossfire Philippines. Yun lang ang masasabi ko, masasabi ko, Ramon, rather. No? Maraming salamat. Kamuntingin ko na pasalamatan yung sarili ko.
Ayun nga no? Thankful sa sarili pero thankful kami sa inyo Crossfire community at saka na nga rin naman sa lahat ng mga nanonood dito sa Impact Summer 2025. Ang laking handog ng mga players natin dito sa server na nandito kayo at dahil sa suporta ay continuously nag-grow kami dito sa broadcast. So kung kapres mo, kasama ko si Salvatore, we wrap up day 10 ng Cfs PH Impact Summer 2025 and we'll see you tomorrow for the previous show and next week for more Impact action. Good night, Pilipinas!